Special edition Crossfire. Yeah. Why not? Let's go on Wednesday. Let's do Wednesday. I got to be honest with you guys. A lot of news broke today, this week, if you will. And I told you guys last week I wasn't sure if we were actually going to do a show this week. I've got some events going on Thursday and Friday. I couldn't even move it to Friday. So I reached out to this amazing panel you guys see that are here tonight. And I said, guys, can you do a Wednesday night? They said, yeah, I think I can fit that into my schedule. I appreciate it. We've also got a few others joining us the second hour. A lot of things going on. Gamescom, of course, you know. Of course, the news that's going on with certain games that are going from one platform to another platform. You guys are well aware. Please take a second, guys. Please hit that like button, if you will. They always say to me, Mooch, you got to say it more often. You know, I put it in the chat all the time, but like you got to say it more often. So I'll try to work that in at least 3 times tonight. Please hit that like button. If you look at that outstanding description down below, you'll see right above that is the join button. That's how you get your name in green and lights. I really appreciate you guys thinking about joining the channel. It really, really does help the channel grow, and it just makes Mooch just a happier podcaster nonetheless. Okay, let's just be honest. That being said, we have an outstanding panel here for you guys, as you guys kind of all creep in. Thanks, by the way. Shout out also to Mash, who donated, as well as Detective Seeds. Shout out to Detective Seeds, who's on vacation. I know he's listening out there. He's having a drink in one hand under a palm tree. So shout out to Detective Seeds, but Mash, both of you guys donated almost 60 memberships last week. I can't say thanks a lot. Domino Zero, Crossfire Special Hype. What a day. Guys, the Super Chat might be working. Let's see if that's working this week. I appreciate it. I do also want to give a shout out and a happy birthday to the great Mary Wilcox. She's out there. She does her thing. She makes sure that the chat does what a chat is supposed to do. So shout out to Mary and happy birthday to her. Without further ado, guys, I had the great Mag come in here. He goes, where's Crap? I said, well, Crap's actually circling the building. Crap doesn't. His driver doesn't drop him off till at least 7:02 p.m. The great Crap Gamer is back again. Crap! Yes. What a week we got, buddy.
It's today was a good news day in gaming, so I feel like it should be a really good show. But I was actually planning to be in the room early because we were talking about that last week. How nowadays everybody does what I used to do, which is show up fashionably late.
Everybody's late.
10 minutes, whatever. We'll just go there. So I was actually trying to show up early, but stuff happens or whatever. But I'm happy to be here, man. Welcome to Xbox Nation. I mean, Crossfire on a Wednesday.
Oh, the good old days. Somebody play some nostalgic music, please.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a great show. Happy to be back. Like I said, I'll be here for a few more weeks or whatever. I like stopping by and doing the show, and just especially when there's so much to talk about. It makes it really an easy thing to do.
Well, there's no better time, Crap. You picked a great time to come back. I mean, we are going into what I like to call the holiday season. It's not technically the holiday, but for gamers, September's when the holiday season starts. Is when games start pouring out.
Hey, I'm hoping. Listen, I'm not even the biggest PlayStation fan, but man, I hope the PS5 Pro saves us because it's been the Switch 2 getting delayed, even though it's not even officially announced. You got Xbox slapping a coat of spray paint on their Series X and putting it back out there for $100 more. Come on.
I'll take
the hardware stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not good. So no. Hopefully the PS5 Pro can save us and get people excited again. But I think honestly, great games would do that too. But that seemed to be in short supply right now. So we'll see.
We will see. The great Crap Gamer is back with us. He knows he's always welcome. Great to have him back here with us 2 weeks in a row. The great Mag is here, by the way, everybody. Mag, listen, what I do here is I really try to mooch as much time from you as possible because you are I love what you write on Twitter, now known as X. I love the shows that you do, of course. Even Monday Night Show would call outstanding work. But you're out there just telling the truth, Mag. You're out there telling the truth, and you've been doing it for a long time. And I love that you can join us tonight because tonight is going to be another night where news broke, and you can very gladly say, as many of us have, not a lot of us, but many of us on the show tonight, we told you this was coming down the line. Mag, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, and let me tell you something. I never apologized. I never wavered. I never changed my story from day one. Ever. For this entire year, I lost a lot of quote friends, whatever the hell you want to call these people, that just disappeared or whatever. Everybody thought it was funny when I was doing Ponymaster 420 videos, but then as soon as I stopped, and then I started realizing what was happening, and I'm like, wait a minute, and then all of a sudden now I'm just name a bunch of different insults, and then you can put that in there. But you know what? That's great. That's how you weed out the losers, and that's how you continue to move forward with the great people that are in the community tonight here, and the people that follow all of us or whatever. Anyways, either way, we got things to talk about. We got. Well, I mean, this has been one hell of an eventful week. I gotta say, this was not what I was expecting. I gotta be quite honest.
This was
end of
not,
the summer. Yeah,
this was not in the bingo card, Mag.
No, it wasn't in the bingo card. You know, Gamescom is usually a complete dud. I mean, let's face it.
That's
every
right.
single year, you go to the thing. Yeah, okay, I know. I understand it has a larger. Well, we won't call it E3 anymore, but it has a larger attendance record than most of whatever you want to call it, Summer Games Fest, whatever. And so it's a big deal. But they very rarely announce a ton of big stuff coming up. It's usually saved for that Summer Games Fest / E3. The Game Awards shows, obviously, in December is when you get a lot of these reveals. And to get what we got this week and all the news that came this week has been nothing short of outstanding and completely shocking to me. So let's get into the show. We got things to talk about.
No, let's get right into it. But we got the great Death Singer here. Me and Singer were talking a little bit. We're both playing Black Myth Wukong, and I'm playing on PS5. He's playing on PC. No shock to the audience.
Can you play it on Xbox, Mooch?
I went and looked on the store. Crap, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I miss it? Did I miss it?
No, it's just not there.
Oh, it's not there. Okay, I thought maybe I was missing something.
Hey, the good news is 5 years later, Xbox fans are finally getting Genshin Impact. I guess Phil Spencer got over his curvy women phobia. And
no, I don't think he has. Crap. I've been hearing a lot of stories behind the scenes about from employees, and been telling me that it is strict over there.
I know how strict it is. In fact, I heard from somebody who used to work there that Phil was aghast by the Witcher scene where he's in the bathtub. Called it.
No.
Yeah, he really was, man. He was like, pornography. Wow, how can this be? This ruffled my feathers. I mean, that was really Phil, and he was freaking out. And apparently, people don't know this, but I had heard it from a couple people that Phil had the chance to bring Genshin Impact at launch to Xbox, but because of the way that the women have curves or whatever, wasn't for it. And now they have their developers personally have mandates to do no exaggerated proportions. The women got to be as strong as the men. They got to have a mansion, whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's Phil. Glad to see him getting over his phobia there.
Yeah,
shout out to
Shout out to First Descendant, and but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But I mean,
I'm not either.
but I gotta say, on Monday, last Monday, I was talking about. I'm tired of seeing Mortal Kombat characters wearing winter parkas. And it's like, can you put him you know what I mean? Put him in something that I can see what's going on.
Wasn't the whole idea of the original Xbox? You get the jigglies from the women and playing volleyball and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's just Did I imagine that? Is that like a Mandela effect thing? Wasn't titty jiggles a thing that was accurate back in the day?
Might have been.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, come on, man. Let's get real. Come on.
I love it.
Xbox is known for that. Now they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Phil's like, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of. I mean, to be fair, as I say, I feel bad for you console players. I have 99 problems, but jiggle physics ain't one. Right?
I tell you what, in the first 5 minutes,
because I have every game. See, now this is why Stellar Blade coming to PC is going to be a masterpiece, right? Because you have to rely on suits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need suits. Shout out to the community for supporting all the people who actually, change up the models of certain characters. You think your character isn't curvy enough? They'll add some curves for you. In all the right places, of course.
Yeah, hell, if you want Homer Simpson in the game, you can put Homer Simpson in the game.
You really can.
I mean, there's nothing better than running around with a squad of Master Chief Kratos and some other people, and you're like, what the hell happened here? But yeah, shout out to Mooch. It was weird getting it on a Wednesday.
Yes.
But I was like, come on, because, people are blowing their lid about this whole Indiana Jones thing, which was absolutely hilarious. And it's like, okay, cool. That's the whole thing. Black Myth Wukong, though. Oh, Oof,
well,
what a game.
It's a great game. We got a lot to talk about it. Nib, you were just about to say in the first 5 minutes. Now, listen, Nib, you actually have the record for before a Crossfire starts to have the most outlandish sayings that were caught off on the
I was going to say,
yes.
5 minutes in, and all I hear is ass and titties and jiggle. I think you've got a horny panel.
Yes,
you have arrived. Yes,
you've arrived.
Yeah.
Nib's like, I feel right at home.
I was like, wait, what happened? Am I logged into his OnlyFans or something?
So great. Well, the great Nib is here, everybody. The great Dead Singer is here. So I guess I'll start. I'll put you on the hot seat first here, because I think when you get done with your comments on here, the rest of the panel is going to be like ready to chomp at the bit here. So the Indiana Jones thing. So let me just say this crap. We've always kind of set the volleyball up. You can spike it. There's the shock factor is not that it's coming to PlayStation. I mean, let's be honest. If you're not, I don't even think you're a gambling guy. But if I said to you, crap, you got $100 in your pocket, yes or no, it goes on PlayStation, you would have said yes. So I think the real shocker here is how they revealed it. I mean, that was odd, I thought, right? Why is Jeff Keighley, why is he revealing it? You would expect Xbox to say something. It was just, I thought that you saw a lot of the playthroughs, a lot of people watching it, doing live reactions. Nobody thought the PS5 announcement would be on that stage. Is that what took you off guard, or are you really shocked that Indiana Jones is coming to PlayStation?
I'm not shocked. You know what? I'm kind of surprised that they announced it when they did. Like, give Xbox fans something, right? After all these years, but instead they're like, yeah, it's going to come to PlayStation as well, and it's one of those things where. It's funny because so much has changed from the FTC leaks, right? Like they said they renegotiated the contract to make Indiana Jones exclusive.
Right.
And now it's not exclusive again, right? Because originally it was multiplat, then they changed the contract to make it exclusive, and now it's not exclusive again. So yeah, it's wild. And I think the fact that they really don't care about their Xbox fans. So basically, listen, like I know people are I'm an Xbox fan, but we're beta testers for PlayStation now, right? We'll get all the bugs, all the issues, all the problems. PlayStation is going to get the complete version and, probably the DLC and all included in one nice little package, haptic feedback, PS5 Pro version, all that kind of stuff, probably 120 frames and whatnot. And we're going to get, we're going to beta test and have all the issues. But I know the Game Pass crowd is going to be like, but Game Pass, I only pay $250 a year to rent games. It's like, who gives a shit? You rent games. I could rent games too. It's called GameFly, right? Like, it's not a big deal. I know people like to glaze Phil Spencer. That dude is nothing. He's done nothing in 10 years. In 10 years? What big exclusives in 10 years? What banger in 10 years has Phil Spencer produced for Xbox fans, right? That everybody's just talking about nonstop, that won awards, that did anything. I can tell you right now, there's nothing. The only games that kept Xbox...
Which he closed.
What is that?
I said Hi-Fi Rush, the studio they closed.
Oh yeah, the studio they closed and put on PlayStation, and then gave away the IP. They loved it so much. They're brilliant. I mean, God, So, listen, I was surprised, Mooch. Here's the thing, right? You're hyping up Xbox.
Yeah.
Here's one more thing. PlayStation 5 reveal, right? Like, how the hell does that work?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
one more thing. It's coming to PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Well, do
they not understand how to market things? Like, listen, you want to put it on PlayStation 5? I get it. Fucking say something months later or into the next year. At least let Xbox fans have that, because every single year, Mooch, for Xbox fans, that's the year, right? That's the year. We're going to get all these exclusives, right? And so far this year, we get Hellblade 2, which that'll probably go to PlayStation at some point.
Yep.
And we get Indiana Jones because they delayed Avowed. Towerborn doesn't launch fully until next year. So what's really coming out this year for Xbox? We all hyped this up for Hellblade 2, which was subpar in my opinion.
Yes, it was.
And like a 5-hour, $40 game.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what
Stalker 2. Stalker 2.
Yeah, that's not first party though.
No, but I advise everyone to go play that game.
Oh, absolutely. I think Stalker 2 looks very good. It does look very good. That'll probably be
the first one was fantastic. The second one is looking... I gotta have to see, because it's... It might be a bit spooky, who knows, but we'll just have to see. But overall, Stalker is a fantastic franchise. If you have the opportunity, you should definitely play it.
So let me ask this question. So Mag, let me ask Mag a question real quick. Kiri here, Kiri86, he says, at least Microsoft isn't trying to fool people. If I had bought an Xbox to play this, I'd be pissed when I found it was coming to PS5. Kiri, the only thing I would say to you is, there's 30 million people that did buy an Xbox that are still waiting for like games. Like, 2022 was very dry, right, Mag? And 24, we've only gotten Hellblade 2. So, I mean, at the end of the day, right, we're 4 years into a console generation, and 2 have been pretty dry. Whether it be third-party exclusive, first-party, what's the reason to own the box?
Yeah, that's the thing is that I've been talking about a lot, and I've been really openly critical about it. And the one thing that I have to say is that as each year passes, it's literally the same thing because everything just keeps getting pushed down the line. And they're like, well, next year's going to be the big year. Well, next year's going to be the big year, right? And then when 2021 came out for Microsoft specifically, they won the award for Publisher of the Year. And they released a bunch of games there. Not everybody played them or whatever. My favorite was Psychonauts 2 specifically. Yeah. Loved it. But the rest of it was like neither here nor there. I'm not a flight simulator guy, whatever. You know what I mean? I farted around for a little bit, flew over my house. That was about it.
Right.
Anyways, the thing is that after 2021, then yes, 2022, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was completely egregious. And then you get it. Well, 2023 is going to be the big year, right? Then we get into 2023. And then the first game you get, which was, by the way, 6 months in. So you already waited half of 2023 to get what? Redfall. Yeah. Then you had to wait till the fall. And then when you get to the fall, it was Forza Motorsport, which was garbage.
Horrible.
So now you've got, so you might as well have just had nothing at that point. Those 2 games right there, right? And then you had Starfield, which is, I'm going to call it mediocre because you know what? The actual definition of mediocre is actually not great and not bad.
Right, correct.
It's funny that when people look at that word, the immediate connotation is that it's negativity. And I'm like, no, mediocre means not great but not bad. So it's a mediocre game. And that's all you got for the rest of the year. And then after that launch, so now you're talking October, right? Now you're going November, December, January, February, March, April. Like what is happening here now? All of a sudden you're going like 7 months and sorry, I forgot Hi-Fi Rush in there, guys. Sorry, my apologies. That sort of snuck in there, but like, you know what? I've already pointed it out a few times before. That 3.8%. I have it here. I got to look it up later. It was 3.8%. I took screenshots of all the achievements on the Xbox side and on the PC side. These people did not play this game. I don't care who the hell is talking about it, who's championing it, who's walking around with got a candle in their window for this game. But I can tell you right now that 30% of the players finished it on normal. 48% got to level 3. 1.2% finished the game on easy. Okay. And completing the game, 7.9% of players completed the game. So nobody played this game. Okay, so I don't know what people are taking this football and running into the end zone with. You didn't play the game. Okay, 7.9% finished the game, and those are facts. I got those numbers right there. You can go. You can go to the achievements and check it out. Anyways, the point is, then you get the Hellblade 2, another mediocre experience. And you know what? It was here today, gone the same day. It wasn't even here today, gone tomorrow. It was gone the same day. People finished it by lunch, and then it was never spoken about again. A couple of screenshots done, and now. If you're exclusively an Xbox fan, you have waited now May, June, July, August. It's 4 months of nothing. Now you're going into September. You get Shattered Space, whatever. But okay, again, a DLC for a game that I thought was mediocre. Maybe it's going to be a great DLC. Who the hell knows?
Right.
But the problem is, at the end of the day, it is now 2024, and I'm hearing big guys. Not little guys, like bigger guys, big Xbox guys like Special Nick saying the same thing. Shout out to those guys and in the Xbox era and everybody else. And they're saying this is another dud of a year. Yeah. Because you can't. I don't consider Call of Duty an Xbox game. It's an everybody game. And so what do you have at the end of the day? You got a DLC and you've got Indiana Jones, which in 3 months to 6 months, give or take, is going to go to the PlayStation 5. So it's another dud of a year. You paid $200 and whatever dollars for what? Like if you're doing the Game Pass thing, $240. Mm-hmm. And what do you got?
Well, that's it.
You
so
that was 4 hours.
That was one of the things.
I will have to say you missed a banger though. An underrated gem. Age of Mythology.
Oh, Age of Mythology. Okay, all right. No, that's fair.
It's a banger. It's a banger. The fact it came back. Yeah.
I was going to say I'm not going to take anything away from that. But I mean, I'm just saying, if you look at the grand scheme of things, even on the console level, what you're facing is that so far this year, people have played 4 hours of their first party with Hellblade 2. That's about it.
Yeah.
So far now you're approaching the fall, and then what are you getting in the fall? Call of Duty again, going everywhere. That's a nothing burger for me. I love Call of Duty. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that is not something that can be championed. That's something that was already there to begin with, and everybody else gets it. But to me, it's a DLC.
Here's the thing.
And a timed exclusive.
So Mag,
that's another loss of a year for me.
Mag,
that's the way I look at it.
And listen, if anyone's doing that tally right there, Meg, you're making a lot of sense. The one thing I gotta say is me and Crap used to get codes all the time on M&C to give away Game Pass. We couldn't give it away. We had people say to us in the chat. Now, this is before Xbox decided to do their first party games. But as you know, even with that rule in place, Mag just gave you the timeline. There hasn't been anything stellar. That's the selling point. That's what I've always said. You guys know this already. That's the selling point for Game Pass. And Nib, I'll ask you, with that being the selling point, and Mag just literally going from 2020 to right now, he went right to the current minute. Okay, people are paying upwards of $200. It's going to be going up again in September if you're a new member to $19.99 a month. You know, at the end of the day, there's two things, Nib. The first party games are coming out way too far apart from each other. Second of all, the quality of the games. The quality of the games. Like I said, we had people, again, it was before the first party games were launching there, but we would give away 3 months, 6 months of Game Pass on M&C, and people would write us in the DM, be like, hey, can I give you that back? Do you guys even have like an indie game you can give us instead? Like, we couldn't give it away.
I had the same thing last week when I had a year of Game Pass. I was offering it for really cheap, and no one took it.
Nib tried to sell it for half price, and he couldn't sell it.
Oh, but I was going to say, but to add to what he was saying, like, it was also the launch, right? Because I remember I bought my Series X on day one, and I was like, what am I going to play on this brand new shiny machine? And I remember I played, it was the Like a Dragon, what's it called? Yakuza game. But it's not exactly like a technical showcase. I was like, really? Like, really? This is all, and there was like Falconeer, I think, as well.
I played Valhalla. I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that wasn't a technical masterpiece by no means.
So it's interesting because I bought Valhalla, right? Had a sealed copy. Started Like a Dragon. Yeah, and then I remember I watched Digital Foundry, and they were like, "Oh, the PS5 version is better," and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like all this time, like the world's most powerful console. I was like, "Yo, what's going on?" So then I took it back because it was sealed, and they just swapped it for the PS5 version. And then I was like, "Well, there's that then." And I was just like, "So it's not, this first round of games, it's not even the most powerful console." And then I don't have any launch titles, but yeah, it's been like that. I will just say, I actually enjoyed Hellblade 2. It's weird because a lot of Xbox guys I know really didn't, but like I enjoyed it, and it took me, I think, 8 hours, so it wasn't like 4 hours or whatever, although I know you can get through it that quickly. But yeah, it's been super dry, and I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like marketing wise they've just abandoned the console side of things, because through the marketing through to you don't need an Xbox, you can play these games wherever you want, to now literally the big last surprise being it's coming to PlayStation. It's almost like they're more interested in courting PlayStation now than they are for the Xbox side of things.
Absolutely.
And maybe the success of Sea of Thieves is partly the reason, because Sea of Thieves hasn't just done well on PlayStation, it's done exceptionally well. It's actually in the year-to-date GSD and Sakana best-selling games of the year on PlayStation, and it's from 2017. So they must be like, oh damn, like they probably didn't expect it to do that well,
right?
So yes, it's a really unusual and strange situation, but I think it's fair to say most of the slate is going to be coming, and I think we said this like a few weeks ago. I'd imagine the primary reason for more games not coming is just the organizational side of things, because you can't just turn multi-platform overnight. You need your developers to have experience in different platforms. You need the headcount. You need the money, the time, etc. So I think just like when they moved over to PC, there was sort of like a migration period and a learning curve. There will be for PlayStation ports as well. So while now there's going to be timing in between and infrequent, I think as time goes on, it's going to be the de facto norm, basically.
Well, you said the one thing you said with the migration and taking time, and that happened with PC, and now we'll get used to it as it goes to other games, go to other platforms. The one thing that we've had a lot of people, Nib, I think you were on the show a few times when we had people on, and they would say, well, this is something that Sony should do. Well, clearly the writing's on the wall here. When you go PC day and date, and then you give your games also, whether it be day and date or like what they're doing with the new Doom, or what they're doing with like an Indiana Jones, which is a deal that they struck that they're still going to have to end up doing 5-6 months later on the competing platform. You can clearly see that it's a slow and tiring death for your platform, your console. I don't see how people would think Sony would follow suit.
Yeah, it's interesting because they won't. Yeah, it's interesting because like the process of this transition is almost a exact replica of how it happened with PC, because he did an interview, the same thing. It's only a couple of titles. It's not like we're doing it with every game.
That's right.
Then like a few months later, we're just learning from the fan base. I think there's a demand for it, so we're trying it out a bit more, and then it turns into the whole thing. Like it's almost like bar for bar exactly the same thing happening again. And I was saying, that interview Phil did 6 months ago. AAA ports, they take approximately on average 9 months to 2 years. It has been quoted by different developers on different websites, right? AAA ones. So when he did that interview 6 months ago, and he mentioned like, it's not Starfield and Indiana Jones, it's just 4 games for now. I'm sure Indiana Jones PS5 was probably already in development at that time. Obviously, I don't know for a fact, but if it's coming out in spring, it probably was. Yes. And I'd imagine they knew at that time it was going to be more, but they just didn't want to anger and upset the fan base even more, right? Because it was like a very last minute thing based on the leaks. I remember there was so much anger. And it's kind of like, yes, we're just going to ease it in.
So let me ask this question then. Nib, you kind of set a volleyball up. Crap, let me ask you a question. What's the real... Okay, because he says they're trying to ease it in. We had the first 4 games, which is actually, if you, as Dusk Falls or whatever that was called.
5, yeah.
5, right? If you want to call it that one there. Now we're talking about... of course, Indiana Jones. People are saying Flight Sim. People are saying...
You know what the funny thing is it's already, like, they said 4... Right, but it was already 5 at that point because they own As Dusk Falls.
Correct.
And then you have the Doom game. That's day and date on PlayStation.
Yes.
So that's 6. Now you have Indiana Jones. That's 7. No doubt in my mind, Blade is day and date.
Yes.
On PlayStation. Elder Scrolls, any Fallouts, all that stuff is day and date on PlayStation. I think what happened is you have this little subsect of Xbox fans that will just take Game Pass over having exclusives, and I think that's who Xbox is kind of catering to right now, like the real cheap people that are like, well, I like paying $1,000 every 4 years for the ability to rent games and own nothing,
right?
And that's and if you look at Microsoft, they're tied into the government, which the government wants the people to own nothing and be happy about it. Microsoft wants us to own nothing and be happy about it, right? That's why so many of these people try to push these streaming stuff, right? But who in their right mind would pay $70 to $100 to stream a video game, right? You never could do anything with it like you would with a video game like right now. Like I have a huge collection, Mooch. You've seen a lot of it when I do live stuff, right?
That's right.
I can take any of that stuff and play it in a working console. I don't have to worry about being connected to the internet. I can let somebody borrow a game. I can do all that stuff. Like what Microsoft wants is for people to pay for games that they don't own, they can't play offline, they can't share, right? That's what they want. It's it's ridiculous. And Phil Spencer, like I said, in 10 years has done nothing. He used to be everybody's buddy, everybody's pal, now he doesn't interact with fans. He doesn't do anything anymore.
No, that's over. Those days are
over. It's all business, and he lies so much. And people that will say, oh, well, he was saying that Indiana Jones and Starfield weren't in the original 4. Well, he still lied and was like, no promises after this. We're starting with 4. They had other games already in development at that point. This stuff is leaked, right? They have a whole thing called Project Latitude where it could be any game, right? I think they're building up, obviously, to it. It wouldn't surprise me to see that new Gears game launch on PlayStation. What better place to start than with a prequel? Am I right?
Listen, I saw that all over Twitter the last couple of days. They said they're not going to launch a Gears 6 on PlayStation 5, right? So they'll do it with a prequel, get everybody caught up, and then bam, then they'll drop whatever will be the continuation. That's,
Exactly. And see, this is the thing. Like, what people don't understand about what's going on, it'll look good to investors and stuff short term. Right, because you're gonna have, and Phil Spencer is like, what did he say? He goes, "We have the most console players playing the most hours ever currently." So that means our thing doesn't affect anybody. But here's the thing that people don't understand: more people are playing on an Xbox One right now than an Xbox Series X or S. And the reason why there's people still playing on an Xbox One, and I know people like this, is because they're still updating Fortnite on there. They're still updating Minecraft, Apex Legends. It's still getting the latest Call of Duty and Madden and FIFA or whatever it is, right? Roblox. It's still getting updates on all these games, right? Eventually, that shit's going to run out, right? Like, going into next generation, I think, is where it's really going to hurt them, because you're not going to have that Xbox One fallback. And I know Xbox One was a failure. I think it ended up selling 58, 59 million units or whatever. But a good, but there's more on there than there are on Xbox Series X and S. So, again, Xbox S and S is selling terribly, right? Yeah. And we know that it's selling terribly, so it's probably going to do under what the Xbox One did. And then you go into next generation where people are like, like the people like me or you, Mooch, that pick up both an Xbox and a PlayStation for the different experiences on the consoles, right? We're going to rethink that. We're going to go, the games are going to go to PlayStation anyway. Why not just get a PlayStation and play the PlayStation games and the Xbox
Right.
games
Everybody always says, when I speak to anybody who's a hardcore Xbox, they're like, well, I have plenty of games anyways. Well, here's my point. When the next console generation comes out, I'm going to have plenty of games to play. So I'll just wait. Even if I have to wait 5-6 months, you can wait and it'll show up on play. I have plenty to play. I'll say what everybody else says all the time. I got so much to play. I don't care if I have to wait. Well, then I don't either. I would just get next generation. If I want to play a game that's superior, that's coming through on Xbox, I'll pick it up on Steam on a PC, or I'll play it 6 months later on a PS6.
Well, think about this: when the PS5 Pro comes out, right? The best versions of Xbox games on console are going to be the PS5 Pro. Right? Like Call of Duty is going to play better there. Indiana Jones is going to play better there. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Sea of Thieves get updated there or whatever. I just whatever else they put on there. Doom, right? Like, they're going to compare this stuff on Digital Foundry. Like us, the Xbox fans are like big old cucks of the world, to be honest with you. They're in that corner chair watching Xbox bang PlayStation. It's like, it's crazy to me that anybody... Mooch, I know Crap Gamer is right. Kick it out wide, right? Like, this is old school Crap Gamer. But it's like, it's like, it blows my mind that this happens and so many people are okay with that. Like, I don't understand the thought process. Do you not understand? Okay, it's not just about, more people get to play the game, right? Like, that's all well and good, but the problem is there's no competition. Sony not doing much of anything, and they don't have to. No, they're kicking the ever-loving shit out of Xbox. Like, they don't have. They could do nothing from forever, right? No showcases, no nothing, and they would still outsell Xbox. Nobody's going to leave PlayStation for Xbox. Why? Because they're going to be the next Dreamcast eventually at some point down the line.
So here's the thing with that, right? Like, I play on everything, but I'm predominantly PlayStation centric, right? Just, it's not anything with the platform. Like, I couldn't actually give two shits about the platform, but they consistently make the games that just appeal to me, right? But this thing is disappointing even from a PlayStation fan perspective. It's really bad because arrogant Sony is a thing, and obviously these are all businesses. None of them are fucking charities. They don't care about us, in one sense. All they care about is extracting more money from the consumer, right? And yes, maybe Xbox was not the strongest competition, but they were still competition, and they did still always have to be cognizant of them in terms of release and pricing and everything else. But now, basically, they have free reign. There isn't really and yes, the Switch will exist, but Switch 2, but it is kind of a slightly different demographic in terms of high performance and portability and all the rest of it. But right now, if everything does go to PlayStation, I really think even from a PlayStation fan perspective, in the long run, not the short term, we probably will get screwed with higher prices, less consumer-friendly policies, and all the rest of it in the long run. And then as an Xbox fan as well, it's like, okay, I've always bought every console to have games made from the ground up for this hardware, right? To really showcase what the hardware can do, from the Halos and the Gears and all the rest of it. We won't really ever have that again because every game will be designed with other lowest common denominators and all platforms in mind. So they'll never really be designed to only take maximum use of the Xbox hardware. It's all going to be multi-platform stuff, which is disappointing. Like, so even it's just
that's a good point. Situation. Well, so here's a super chat. Go ahead, Singer. Go ahead. I got a super chat, but go ahead, Singer.
Do the super chat and then I'll go.
Okay, so the Claymores, he makes a point. He says, I think Xbox, this is interesting. I shouldn't say a point. It's an interesting point. He says, I think Xbox will shop exclusivity to platforms. There may be a future where PlayStation buys 6 months exclusivity for an Xbox game, similar to Towerborn being Steam exclusive before Game Pass. Does that hold water with you guys? I mean, I could see.
Listen, I said I could see a world where Microsoft allowed Sony to continue to buy marketing rights for Call of Duty. Because what difference does it make? And they can earn some money back from that. Like Sony was paying quite a bit. Yeah, Sony was paying quite a bit, and Microsoft can't market it on Game Pass anyway. So let Sony handle all the marketing and stuff, and they won't get anything special from it, but they could market it and be like PlayStation, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could definitely see that. Listen. What they're advertising right now, you see what Microsoft advertises. They're like, look at all these games, and it's like World of Warcraft. What the hell are you Why is Xbox like? It's not a console game. It's like they got 2 or 3 games. That era game, that's a PC game. You know what I mean? They got a lot of PC centric stuff. Like as a console fan, I couldn't care less about. And then the actual Xbox stuff is so few and far between, yet they get another, everybody's $250 a year still, it's like, it's becoming ridiculous to get people on the hook. And it's like every year, okay, this is going to be the year, this is going to be the year. And it's never the year.
Crap. I was just going to say one extra point actually to the what you just said there. As part of the marketing deal with Call of Duty, one of the things that came out in the FTC / UK CMA case was that PlayStation don't take 30% from Call of Duty. They take a reduced cut as part of the marketing deal. So they wouldn't even lose much of a percentage to PlayStation. Like say they negotiate 15 or 10% or whatever it is, right? It's not actually a lot to lose if you're gaining more sales in the long run, right? Because then they still keep the lion's share of the revenue. So again, I can see that. I'm not saying it would happen, but there's definitely a financial case to be made for accepting a deal like that, even with PlayStation, as long as you can work out and restructure the percentages.
That's interesting. Shout out to Blaze, by the way. Blaze 4K's in the chat. Gives me $10. I sent out a picture of me playing Black Myth Wukong yesterday. Blaze immediately responds with, Mooch, you okay, bro? You okay? He's checking out. You know why, Brad? He's checking on me. He's like, why'd you buy it on PlayStation? You have a PC. Could have played it in better specs. He goes, you all right? I'm like, I'm all right, Blaze. I swear. So Blaze is probably giving me that $10 to go and buy it on PC. Shout out to the great Blaze 4K, everybody. Appreciate the super chats, guys. I really do. Yeah, so Brap, the great Brap is here, guys. By the way, Brap going live at 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. A little plug there for Brap. Brap, we usually don't do Wednesdays, but you can do a back-to-back here, which is great. Brap, what's your take on all this? There's a lot going on. Phil Spencer, Brap, said, we run a business, in quotes, Brap, okay? I hope Nintendo and Sony not running a business. So this is how you run a business, Brap. What did you think about the comments from the Xbox boss?
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, they're running a business, and there's a lot of, like we've talked about on this show and on Brap quite a bit. There's a lot of eyes on them now after the ABK deal.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You look in the financials, how they split like the ABK revenue and like the growth revenue of the Xbox division by itself. Like it's kind of interesting because like you look at that and you see that the Xbox division, I think last quarter, Nib could probably correct me if I'm wrong here. I think it was -4% minus ABK. Is that
minus
right,
ABK?
Nib?
I think you're right.
It is correct. Yeah. And just to add one more thing, guess how much growth they've had this entire generation over the last 4 years? If you take ABK out of the equation,
not a lot.
2.5%.
How much is it?
What is it?
2.5%.
Okay.
PlayStation in the same period, 4 years, has had 65%, and Nintendo, going by the first 4 years of their new generation, also had exactly 65%.
Yeah, I mean I think that speaks volumes, and it also speaks to the strategy. Like, Indiana Jones coming to PS5. Like I'm kind of surprised the way they handle that announcement. I'm like, you're not going to even let it breathe a little bit, and give the illusion that it's exclusive to Xbox. They announced it at Gamescom at a pretty big event, the biggest event now in terms of like industry events. But I think this is the way forward now. I mean, to Nib's point, 2.5% growth over the console generation is just anemic growth. -4% in the last fiscal quarter. ABK can't be the only P&L center that's propping up the business because they spent $80 or $70 billion on that particular deal. So I think for them, the problem is that they have hit a situation where, in the console space at least, like it's been known for decades that the console space, although the hardware margins have gotten a little bit better, you sell hardware, razor thin margins, but you make it up in software sales. And when you have declining hardware, and you talk about the kind of growth that Nib mentioned, and you're trailing this console gen in terms of hardware versus the previous console gen, which you lost market share that console gen, it's going to impact your ability to sell software, your first-party software. So they're in a position where they're really kind of reliant on Nintendo and PlayStation now to sell their first-party software. So I just wish they would just rip the Band-Aid off and just look.
Yeah, exactly, Brap. Rip the Band-Aid off. Enough. Stop with this trickling effect. Just say your plan. Put the roadmap out there. How do they suspect? There's two things going on here, right? And we were saying it earlier on the show. Either they're leading people on to go buy Xboxes that may already have a PlayStation. Like, I want to play this game. Oh, I didn't know they were going to come. People don't. Not everybody has their ear to the ground. Like we're watching Gamescom and reading every article that's coming out, and everyone. Not everyone's doing that. Or why wouldn't you just announce it and put the roadmap out there? And like they said, we want to give gamers choice. Well, tell them then.
Yeah, I mean, they on one hand they say when we all play, we all win. Right. And then they're kind of holding exclusives kind of close to their chest a little bit with some of their IPs. And then they do things like they make the announcement of Indiana Jones coming to PS5, and so just rip the Band-Aid off. I think we all could agree, right? They have clearly changed directions here because they need to. And I do want to make one more thing. A lot of dialogue around people conflating the reasons why Sony releases games on PC. Sony doesn't do it because they need to. It's more of an additive thing for them. Yeah. They don't have issues selling first-party software. No. And how do we know that? Because we have Circana numbers. They will let us know when games sell, 5 million or 20 million or 40 million or whatever the case is. I mean, Sony is approaching from a first-party perspective in terms of their sales of their first-party games. They're approaching almost Nintendo numbers. I mean, that's where they're trending, right? And we know how crazy Nintendo first-party games sell. So, this idea that there's some kind of big industry shift. I think the big shift is really Microsoft Xbox's business strategy for the reasons I just mentioned. But I don't think I think the shift or Sony putting their games on PC, the reasons behind that are different. The motivation behind it is different because it's more additive in that regard for PlayStation than it is for Xbox. Xbox has to do this because they need to save their business. They need to make money.
It's gone from supplement. Well, yeah, that's the thing, and I want to piggyback off that. Brap, how's it going, buddy?
What's going on, Mag?
Yeah, the thing is, like you were saying with Sony, it's supplementary to their primary business, right? Which is, of course, selling on the console. They're going to continue to do that as well. I know some people are saying, "Oh, well, that's the way the industry's going." I hate when people say that because what the problem is, they're actually associating Microsoft's specific situation with the rest of the industry. This is the way the industry's going. This is the direction. Yeah. Cloud is the future. No, it's their future.
That's their future.
Not everybody else.
Not everyone's going to pivot that way, Mag.
No, and the thing is, why would you? As Nib has said, as Brap has said, why would you? You look at a year like this year, and for anybody in the know, and I know that Detective Seeds is in the know, and some other people are in the know, and we hear things. And the thing is, we've also heard that a lot of first party on the Sony side, people are like, oh, where's all the games? There were a ton of games in the top half of the generation that were being developed for PS4, got moved to PS5, and of course were cross generation, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, a lot of the first party that are being like some of the new IPs, some of the sequels and everything else, they were asked to be slightly pushed ahead because of the PS5 Pro, so that they had things to launch for the second half of the generation to give a massive boost into the second half with GTA 6 coming, which you might as well at that point just call it a console exclusive. especially if it's coming out on the Pro, right? So anyways, the point is that they're going to push those games out there, and there's no reason. And if you look at a year like this year, and you see all those games, well, they weren't made by Sony first party, but you know what? They sold a ton of consoles, and they sold a ton of games, and they absolutely dominated NPDs for the entire year. Guess what? It's working. It's like, you know what I mean? So, and that is not even without Naughty Dog. That's not even without Santa Monica, with Bend and some of these other studios, right? I don't have to name them all off.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they're doing that without that. Why would they bother with day and date on PC? They do not require it. It does not beat it. It doesn't. It's not required at all. And the other thing is too is that a lot of these games that are coming to PC, they've already been out for 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. You know, the God of War Ragnarok. Everybody's going nuts about it. And I'm like, guys, we played this 3 years ago. You know what I mean? I platinumed it 3 years ago or whatever, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. The point is that it's not necessary. Microsoft on their part, because of that massive. When they ended up having to invest is that at the end of the day they have no choice to pivot because people are not getting into the Xbox ecosystem. The console, you can forget it. I can tell you right now, it's going to be an option, and it's always going to be an option. But they're not going to put any oomph into it. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the way. They might do that handheld, the one that I talked about. That might be the one that was designed by the Surface team. They might still go with that. Other than that, I don't think you're going to see a lot because they're going to focus on PC, and then of course they're going to lean hard on the PlayStation because by announcing what they did, their intentions are 100% the fact that they're going to rely on the bigger install base to be able to purchase that product. They're not going to market Game Pass. Game Pass will be for the console gamers and for the PC gamers. But on the PlayStation 5 side, they're going to hope that they have quality games that come out. Your Avoweds, your Indiana Jones, your E-Days, and whatever else. And those games are going to be purchased on the PlayStation 5 for damn near full price.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being the case, that's where they're going to be making their bank. On top, we're ignoring ABK, of course, and the online and what King does with their 2 billion players and everything else.
So let me say, first of all, shout out to B Money for joining us. B, I definitely coming to you with a question in a second here. I do want to get Death Singer in here. Singer, you were going to say something earlier, but I want to ask you a question, and then I'll let you take the mic from there. Navenzer says PlayStation is going to get the game before some Xbox people. What I think he's referring to, and this is something, Meg, I think you alluded to, a few others online, is saying these different tiers, Singer, of Game Pass are maybe going to end up missing certain games. Like, I'll give you an example. I don't remember if they call it standard or whichever one it is, where it could be 6 to 12 months later when you get a game first party drop into Game Pass. People on PlayStation may end up getting Indiana Jones before people on standard Game Pass or whatever they're calling that one that is the 12-month wait.
Mooch, I don't want to interrupt.
No.
I'm not going to interrupt Death Singer, but apparently it's minimum 1 year.
It's minimum 1 year. So there you go. So there would be people playing an Xbox first party game on PlayStation before people paying for Game Pass. So there you are. Meg says it there. I didn't know if it was 6 months or 12 months. Singer, what do you think about something like that?
I will get the quote.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Meg.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it sucks, but that's just if you sub to that tier of Game Pass, you're getting what you pay for. Yeah. If you want the games day one, up your tier, or buy the game outright, because you're not forced to use Game Pass. You could just purchase the game off the store.
That's right.
So it's not mandatory. So if you're like, oh, that game ain't coming for a year,
doesn't it feel like Singer, buy the game Singer, doesn't it feel like Xbox has now kind of backed themselves into a corner here? Right? I mean, they made this bed, they got to lay in it now. Like, they have to make these tiers, and the tiers are. Listen, I understand people that are listening to the show and people that keep their ear to the ground. They go, it's not confusing, but for someone to see 4 tiers. And say, which one should I get? Oh, this one's multiplayer only. Oh, this one gets 25 games in it. This one will get games 12 months later. This one gets everything. It's just very, very confusing. I think that they had to do this. Again, another thing where they had to do this. Shout out to the great Mash for the 10 gifted memberships. I appreciate that. But Singer, I think this is just, it's convoluted. It's crazy, and I don't think it's going to attract new Game Pass followers.
I think that core is for people who just want Xbox Live, right? To go online and play their video games. I think that's what it's for, because obviously Xbox Live no longer exists as far as I'm aware.
Well, no, there's Core. Core is for that. Is it Core?
either way. So maybe they just want some couple other games and they go to standard. I mean, it is a whole bunch of tiers is just stupid. But I mean, they tell you what it does on the tin. So if you want something better, you're just gonna have to up your tier. So it's not like they're forcing you into doing this. It's not like they've handcuffed you and said you must do this. So you just have to be a smart consumer and realize, do I want to play this game early or can I wait?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're the typical casual gamer, you probably don't give a shit about no Indiana Jones. You're looking forward to Black Ops 6, right? So, I mean, I don't know how many people it actually affects. Like, the hardcore gamers would be probably, I would imagine, in Ultimate tier, right? Or the one just below it.
Yes, I would think so. I think the one thing that's going to happen, I said this a long time ago, crap, you might remember this. I said the way to really attack Game Pass for a single player game, this doesn't work for a Call of Duty, guys. It doesn't work for that. But like, we'll just pick on Starfield. So Starfield has DLC. That may put a wrinkle in this plan, but Starfield came out last September. You buy, or at the time it was $10 for Game Pass. It was $14.99 for Ultimate at the time. You can do the $10. You could have done the $10 deal, played the game, beat the game, and then just canceled your. So instead of paying $70 for a game, or paying $10 a month, or $14 a month, or now it will be $19.99 a month, you could have just paid the one time and then cancel it and played the game for $10 back then. Right? I think a lot of people, you're going to see that fluctuation. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people, because listen, Xbox has got a bad track record right now. They've got one game out in 2024. So people are paying $20 a month right now for one game, Hellblade 2. And listen, it was an absolute marvel for the eyes, right? It was eye candy, all of that. You want to go with that road? I'll agree with you guys. I'm not arguing that. And Nib actually enjoyed it, which I think Nib was probably on a 24-hour wine binge when he played it. But nonetheless, right, Nib, you like that?
Do you know what it is? I like these experiential games every now and again. If I wasn't a multi-platform gamer, I'll be honest with you. If I wasn't a multi-platform gamer and that's all I had on Xbox, I probably would have had a very different experience. But because I'm playing multiple things on multiple systems, it almost felt like a palate cleanser.
It was a refreshing. Yes.
Yeah, it was different. It was like a creative, artsy title. But if I was an Xbox only gamer, trust me, it would have been a completely different thing.
Can you imagine if you were reliant on their output for this year?
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So, like, if you reach up to that point, you could have had, let's say, Hellblade and Call of Duty at the 10-month mark of the year. That would have cost you $200 US for two games. One game that you could have easily sold for $49.99, I would say Hellblade 2. I don't think they would be able to charge $70 for that US. But I could see them charging like a little bit less, like a Little Nightmares kind of thing, like a AA title, $49.99. And then you've got Call of Duty, which of course would be your standard $70. At that point, you could have just bought the two for $120 American, and you could have saved the $80, because I looked at the rest of Game Pass for the rest of the year. It was nothing extraordinary and nothing I haven't played years ago. And the other games were just games that were just, some of it's like shovel filler. I see my daughter has Game Pass. I don't anymore. And, she's playing like Lil Gator Detective or whatever the hell it is. Like, no one's playing this.
Right.
And the engagement is not there. Anyways, Mooch, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, but I wanted to say something. I found the quote. It says here, standard will run $15 a month. Its biggest change is the loss of day one access to first-party games. According to Microsoft, quote, those titles may potentially join the standard tier at a future date, ranging up to a full year or later from its arrival, depending on the game.
Ouch.
You might as well just give it to PC and PlayStation at that point.
Yeah, they're trying to incentivize people, push people into that higher tier. But what you just read there, Mag, I mean that's what that is. I mean, I get it.
Yep. But you realize, Brett, up until the end of this month, that $15 got you day and date.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now it's considered you're considered a schleb. For paying $15 a month, you're not even. You know what I mean? You're not even like, you're lower than scum. It's like you're just the low tier. You're not getting shit. We'll give you Dead Island 1 Riptide. There you go, kids. Enjoy. You know what I mean? Like,
Dead Island 1
Riptide.
He went Riptide.
The thing that's going to hurt the most is that most of their roadmap that we've seen lately has all been single player games. Right. Like if your game doesn't come out with high Metacritic, everybody's talking about it. It's just this next big thing that everybody has to play, and people will just wait. It's not like a multiplayer game where everybody feels like they have to get in. It's the hottest new thing or whatever. Like, we got to play it.
Exactly.
It's a single player game, and you already are tied up with backlog or whatever other game you're playing. Like, you don't have to run and upgrade to the next tier to play.
This.
B, you just
said it earlier.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, B, you're exactly saying not only what I said earlier, but what I've been saying for a long time. I don't know how to explain it to people when you say it in the words. It doesn't hold water. But when a game comes out, let's just use Black Myth Wukong for a second, right? There's the hype, and there's everyone talking about it. And for the next 14 days, right, whether you guys like this game or not, I'm showing some of it right now. I played about 2.5 hours last night. Listen, whether you like the game or not, it is going to be in your face. So what do, B, right? You're like, you know what? Oh, I got an extra $10 on my PSN wallet account. You know what? It's $59.99. I'll buy it. And you start playing it, and you're talking with friends, and you're in lobbies, and you're in Discords. Shout out to Singer right now, who's always like, get in your friend's Discord and talk about games. And that's what Singer does. He's right. It's a lot of fun. But when you have a game like you just said, and I'm picking on Avowed, so Singer, please, Singer, do not. I'm only doing it for an example. No hate.
I am watching.
No hate, okay? But B Money makes a point. Avowed is a single player game, and it's in a service, and it'll just sit in there, and it's like, you know what? I'll get to it when I get to it. That does not mean Singer or hardcore Oblivion fans, they're going to say, hell no, Mooch, I'm there day one. I'm here for that. But I'm saying for other people that are playing the game, it's like, okay, it's just in the service. People always say that. Mag just read off all the stats on who finished Hellblade 2 and who finished Starfield and who finished this game. And the numbers are lower when they're in these subscription based, it seems. It just seems that way, B. So does that play a role there where it's, I guess I'll call it one of Brap's favorite words. He'll say FOMO, Mooch. You're going to get FOMO if you don't buy this game. I mean, B, is that true? Does that play a role too? Because like you said, with a single player game, I can just wait. It's going to be in that service forever.
Yeah, I think that played a big part in it and why Helldivers was so big. Because, like, people were talking about it and everybody's, like, it wasn't on a lot of people's radar. And then, overnight, everybody's playing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you have something that has that high impact that kind of drives, everybody to it, that changes everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And when you don't have games that have that high impact, it's just like, I'll wait. I'll get to it eventually. It'll come to whatever service I'm subscribed to, or I'll catch it on a holiday sale or whatever, and that's when I'll pick it up. But if it's not high impact, then people just pass it by. We see it every day. Like there's games that come out every week, and most games are not talked about.
Yeah,
Black Myth, like there was some hype about it, but people didn't expect it to have 2 million concurrent players on it last night. That's ridiculous.
That's wild.
That's insane. Yeah.
I actually think Black Myth Wukong could be a bigger problem for Microsoft than. So the reason I say this is because I made a tweet earlier. Black Myth Wukong has actually led to the PS5 topping all the electronics charts in China. It was more than double the sales earlier, and I think it has kept increasing. So it's clearly like a PS5 system seller in China. I appreciate that the growing from a lower number is easier, but it's it's the spark of things, right? Because PlayStation has been trying to sort of have penetration into the Chinese market. They have the China Hero Project. They've got Phantom Blade Zero, Lost Soul Aside. These other sort of partnership games that are coming out, and then you've got Black Myth Wukong, which is like the biggest game China's had. I think in the article it said ever in terms of production costs and things like that. And this game is exclusive, temporarily timed exclusive because of Microsoft's own fault, because of the Series S, to bloody PlayStation. And I think like this is the kind of thing that it can be the flame that allows PlayStation that sort of gateway, the bridge into the Chinese market, and it's even more dangerous, for competitors and stuff. So, of all the games for it to happen to, I think this one is going to have quite an impact.
Shout out to Mesh. He says here, Phil this time, and Mesh, I was just responding to you. He says, Phil this time even said they will continue to change based on, in quotes, pressure to perform and grow. And I apologize, the thing actually shifted up. And that the success that they saw on the other platforms has allowed them to continue to grow due to strong IPs. He goes, what the F do you think that means? And I mean,
that's because Microsoft took over, Mooch.
That's right.
Microsoft took over Xbox. You hear that quote what you just said there? Performance based. the CFO and everybody else, they don't care about what we're talking about, what the people listen to the shows. They don't care about the XNCs and the Xbox 2 podcasts and all this other stuff. All they care about is a return on investment is number one, obviously, and performance. And performance requires you to go elsewhere. That's exactly what they were going to do, and that's what they're going to continue to do. That's exactly what that means. Microsoft is now the gaming division, no longer Xbox.
Yeah, so this is a big thing, and I'm glad Nib said it. Crap, I'll ask you real quick. I want to ask you your opinion on it. I know that you may not be playing Black Myth Wukong, but I got to be honest with you, the sales are exploding, and there's reports that started coming out today that said exactly what Nib was saying, that it has enhanced the PS5. That's starting to skyrocket in China. That's a market that we remember back in the Xbox One day. You remember they were like, Xbox is going. Huge. It's going to be huge for Xbox. Yeah. And it didn't pick up for either. It didn't pick up for PlayStation or Xbox. This is the first time they're actually getting through their shields. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Baldur's Gate situation. Remember, like you have this game that explodes and it's not on Xbox. It's a real problem. Like developers aren't prioritizing it because Microsoft doesn't prioritize it, right? Like this is why I always said, like, it doesn't really matter if they do a pro version or whatever, because just like with the Xbox Series X, which is more powerful than the PS5, like it should be running circles around it, right? Yeah. With the hardware capabilities, but it doesn't. Like any game that's equal on Digital Foundry or slightly better on PlayStation 5 that they test, that's the black mark on Xbox. That's not a good thing. That thing should be running circles around the PlayStation 5 easily. So, again, like this is the problem that you have. You have them kind of slapping the fans in the face. We'll see how it goes with like Indiana Jones and stuff. But again, I'm still blown away that they announced that how they did. And, I don't look at Indiana Jones as a huge game anyway. That IP was popular like in the 80s and stuff, but how's it going to do now when the last couple of movies were terrible?
Yeah.
And, I'd be curious to see it. But Mooch, remember we used to say back when Game Pass first started, they need to get something like, Bethesda games, but those games dropped to like $20-$30 in the first few months anyway.
Yep.
So realistically, you could wait a few months and and then play it and own it. Because again, I don't necessarily trust, especially if like I know people think that the games that once they're in Game Pass they stay there forever, but it's not true. Like if they have some kind of license agreements and stuff, and more games have those agreements, music or parts or whatever, like Hi-Fi Rush, that game is probably going to be delisted at some point. Right? I mean, that has a soundtrack on it, and one of the songs is by a band called Zwan, which was Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah. It was his band after Smashing Pumpkins, right? And I love that song, but there's no way that they're going to keep that up, right? And I don't think that the physical version of that was a limited run thing. So, like, eventually at some point that game's going to be completely delisted. It's not even owned by Microsoft anymore, probably because they didn't want to pay for that type of thing. And this is going to happen more and more often. Like Forza Horizon 4 is getting delisted this year. So, it's a bad situation that Microsoft finds themselves in. And again, everything you hear from them really sounds like they don't give a shit about the console community at all.
No, and shout out. Go ahead, Nib.
No, I don't want to interject. I didn't want to change the subject, but I just want to clarify something that Mag said. And I know for any listeners, because I get this all the time, what he mentioned about like a lot of the PC and Xbox community, they say, oh, they're all in the same boat. They're all doing this. And it's like, no, if you're not going to listen to me, listen to the executives, right? And I've said this before, like on the 30th of May at their financial call, Herman Holst and Hideki Nishino, they literally said, and I've got a summary here, tentpole titles are the backbone of PlayStation and will continue to get staggered PC releases to incentivize PlayStation 5 adoption and additive revenue growth while avoiding console cannibalization. They are literally telling you that even the PC staggered release cadence is to increase PlayStation sales. Right? Yes. They want PC. They want PC people to play a game and be like, oh, do you know what? I like this so much. Maybe I'll consider getting a PlayStation 5. Maybe I'll even consider getting a PS5 Pro, right? Because only 25% of people on Steam have a PC that's more performant than a PS5, so they might want to upgrade to the Pro, right? So in every way, they are telling you, no, they're not adopting this multi-platform strategy. Everything they're doing, even with the Switch, is to get people over from that demographic, over from Switch, over from younger demographics, to consider buying a PlayStation for Horizon, to consider buying a PlayStation 5 for these for these PlayStation tentpole games that otherwise will get staggered. And if they don't do it, if the vast majority don't, which is fine, they still get the sale on PC anyway. So it's all about additive revenue versus the primary cannibalization. So on the Xbox side, they are literally cannibalizing their console platform, whereas PlayStation is getting additive revenue from other means, but still bolstering their PlayStation console.
So I'm so glad I'm so glad. No, and Singer, I want you to answer here, but Rambling Entertained, I'm so glad Nib did just chime in though, because he says 1 console out, 2 to go. The PCMR sends its regards. Rambling, the thing you need to understand is what Nib just said right there. He actually just kind of nailed it. That's not PCMR knocking consoles out. Microsoft knocked Microsoft out. They legitimately did that to themselves. They cannibalized their own product. That's what they did, and that's why PlayStation's doing a different tactic. Nintendo's not doing it at all. I understand that.
Yeah, I always say, like, oh no, it's Alex or whatever. There's this PC guy. I think fundamentally, a lot of cats, they don't understand that it's very different from a platform holder than it is a publisher. Because a platform holder, if they do manage to bring you into their walled garden ecosystem, they get 30% of every single digital purchase that you ever buy. Add-on, DLC, microtransactions, full games, third party or first party, whatever it is a long-term sustained residual income revenue from people who join the ecosystem that you just don't get on an additive revenue. PlayStation, they make money on games sold on PC, and then Steam take the other 30%. But if they can bring you to buy a console, they will get 30% of every single digital purchase you ever make over the life of the entire console. It's a completely different consideration for a platform holder than it is for a publisher. And I think somewhere along the line, Microsoft lost sight of that, whereas PlayStation and Nintendo, they're acutely and keenly aware of it still.
Well, I think that that Microsoft's new strategy here, not new, they've been working on this for years, is to eventually phase out the console entirely, because I think in my mind, is what they're going to end up doing is, why spend tens of millions of dollars on R&D, never mind the distribution, the manufacturing, having to pay the plants, having to pay the workers, the packaging, the shipping, everything else that goes into the console, when they could just directly basically download it to your brain, whether it's through an Amazon Fire Stick or cloud gaming or whatever they ended up doing, and of course the PC and then PlayStation and of course the Switch 2. A lot of these games are coming to Switch 2. Now, you're not hearing about it yet, but you will. In next year or so. And the reason why is, why bother going through all that when you could just make 70%? And that's all there is to it. You make the 70% and let them do the heavy lifting. And that's why you're going to see, even next generation, you're going to see, never mind, like, I know that Xbox is still releasing new hardware. However, it is going to be so insanely lopsided that you think that 3 or 4 to 1 is bad. I think it's going to be 6, 7 to 1, because what's going to end up happening is people are going to make that informed decision and say, if they're not on a PC, I'm ignoring the PC side of it because I'm not a PC player. I'm a console player. It's not because I can't. It's just I'm not interested. So
I gotta get on the bandwagon, man. Come on.
I'm not interested, Brap, and it's got nothing to do with money or anything. It's just got the fact that I'm not interested in farting around with sliders. I just want to turn on the goddamn game and play. I'm busy.
I'm with you, Mag. I'm with you.
Mag, hey, let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with a little tinkering, Mag. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to tinker. I want to turn it on and I want to play. So anyway, the point is that at the end of the day, they collect their 70% and they're just going to sit back. They're going to own it. And they're going to collect. And then, what consumers are going to do are going to make that informed decision and say, you know what? Why would I bother with any other ecosystem outside of Nintendo as well? Because Nintendo has that, the whole Mario thing and their first party and the Zelda thing. But if you look at the PlayStation versus Xbox versus PC, actually, the PlayStation is actually basically the multi-platform box for all of them, because you're going to get PlayStation exclusives right away, you're going to get Xbox exclusives, and you're going to get third-party exclusives. Yeah. If you think about that, you make the one purchase, and you pretty much, even if you have to wait 3 or 4 months, big deal for let's say an Xbox title. But the other ones you're going to get day and date. PC is not going to get day and date PlayStation. So there, you know what I mean? And so you're going to get all that. And you say, well, why would I bother buying anything else? So I'm actually happy about that. And the reason why is because then at least I know that the console future is not dead. It's going to continue going on, and that's where I prefer to play. So that's the way I see it, and it's going to be hilarious to watch.
No, and I hear your point, Singer. I want to ask you a question. Mash had a great question, and this is something I know that Crap. This is definitely on your. Well, it's on Crap.
Sorry, Mooch, I got to run, dude.
No, all right, Mag. Thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
No, guys, it was amazing. What an amazing talk. But you know what? Some other people tagged in, so I'm going to tag out. But,
okay, Mag. I appreciate it.
That's right. Dig him in. Let's see, Mag.
Mag. Welcome to Great.
Hey, Mooch.
Yes.
I got to get going too.
I know you said you're popping in for Brap. Guys, Brap, right after this, I'll plug it, Brap. Don't you worry about it.
All right, man. All right, gentlemen.
All right, Brap, have a great show. The Great Chef 7780s joined us as well. But Detzinger, I'm going to go to you here with this question because Mash makes a point here. He says, my question then is, does Microsoft have a strategy for the console game library for their players? Or do they expect people will just forget about it and not care if they continue to focus away? And Crap's been worrying about game preservation. We heard Phil talk about it for a while, but if the Xbox does, in essence, go away, Singer, how do you save it?
I got a whole bunch of things to go over, not just that. Right, let me sort thoughts. Okay, right, for that. Thing is, they'll get rid of the console, but they'll probably keep your entitlements. I don't know. They're probably smart enough to realize that you kind of have to preserve it some way. So they probably have the games. Like if you bought them digitally, I could see them saving it, right? Because they're digital games. You could just uninstall them and then take your account with you and then log into your account and just download them again on whatever platform, right? So they might link it to the account. Now, if you've got physical, I feel bad for you. You'll have to trade those bitches in, I guess, because if they no longer make a box. So that is unfortunate, because just like how your saves carry over from like console to PC, your game entitlements carry over from console to PC, all through the account. I think that's the way they're going to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it'll be through the account.
And as far as what made me laugh, Nib, when he was, trying to convince PC players to come to PlayStation, it is a really, really hard sell unless you're really interested in the games. Because it's like you have to pay $70, you have to pay to play online. That in and of itself is like, man, really, you're gonna make me? So that's the whole thing.
You know what how I would respond to that?
Go on.
According to PlayStation themselves, 35% of active PC gamers have a PlayStation 4, and in the launch year alone, 8% of PC players had a PS5. So already there is cross-pollination. They have the data. They know.
There is cross-pollination between them, but I mean, the vast majority, obviously, they're never going to look back to console because they've evidently graduated and they've spent thousands on their rig, and they're probably like, what, you can't do 100?
You say that, right? That's the thing. This is the conversation. They haven't spent thousands. Actually, 75% of PC gamers on Steam have a low-end rig that's lower in performance than a PS5. So they're banking...
That's not true, though, because you don't know how old that PC is. It would have been expensive back... If you're running a graphics card from 2016, in 2016, that PC would be a couple of thousand, right?
So I contend that.
Relative.
I contend that, right? But then think about it. For them, for 75% of PC gamers, if a PS5 is already more performant than what they own, a PS5 Pro is even more performant, they are more likely to transition over, right? Because they're on it's kind of like the tail end of the generation of performance, right? They're getting long in the tooth settings and frame rates or whatever. So they're faced with a dilemma, right? You can buy another PC rig and spend, a fair chunk of money, or you can opt for a console or a PlayStation or whatever. Now, I don't think many people will do it, but they have the data showing that PC gamers do also buy PlayStation, so they are trying to incentivize means for them to make that transition, right? And I think even if a tiny percentage do it, even if a small percentage, that's still a hell of a lot of revenue. We're talking hundreds of millions, possibly billions.
Small percentage will do it, of course. But it's like the vast majority, even if they have something that's weaker than a PS5
but I don't think PlayStation is the vast majority.
But then you're not factoring in you as a consumer. You're just factoring the hardware. You're not looking at it as a person.
They also said too that they know that by putting their games on PlayStation, putting PlayStation games on PC, those PC players probably would never bought a PlayStation. So that's why they didn't. They were saying it wasn't a risk to their console, in the sense that, hey, these players, we've given the game its time to kind of to go through its thing, and now we're going to put it on PC.
Exactly.
And the main thing is that they're introducing their IP. That's the thing that's very important. Nintendo's doing it. Hey, even Bethesda did it with Fallout, and we're seeing the impact that people that were playing these games because of the FOMO or just getting into these franchises, and that's where the value of IP is going to be very important moving forward. And that is something that Microsoft over the last decade has destroyed a lot. They have not really embraced their IP. They've driven Halo. The thing is that what's crazy is that they've taken Halo, and not only did they just piss off people, like didn't get new people into the game, but they actually, the people that create content, like the diehard people that live and breathe Halo, are like, what do I do with my channel? That's how bad they put that game in their premier franchises. They really did not nurture their IP. I'm hoping they do better with Gears, because that was even tailing off. Hopefully this new one will do something.
Well, this is, Jez, this is going to be an interesting, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because you saw what you said about Halo. That's true. Gears is actually in even more rough shape, and the reason I say that is you've lost I know Rod Ferguson now is, in air quotes, still under the Microsoft umbrella, but no longer with the coalition. They don't have their buddy there that left after Gears 3. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. I can see his face. Cliffy B. Thank you. Thank you, B. So, I mean, this is a situation where you have a lot of new people stepping up to the guard. Don't get me wrong. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because I thought 4 and 5 were a big downgrade, a large downgrade from where 1, 2, and 3 left off. So maybe this is a good thing to get some newer folks in there. But at the same time, what are the Gears channels doing? I don't even see any anymore out there. I don't see anything.
And even Crackdown, Phil's favorite franchise, like they did even the last Forza Motorsport. Forza was their premier racing. Forza Horizon is sticking around.
Yes.
But Motorsport, yeah. And the thing is like, that's why IP is very important. And that's why Nintendo values it very importantly, like how it's portrayed, where it is. And Sony's doing the same thing. And the thing is just getting people aware of the IP. Whether they go buy a PlayStation, I think that is a far-fetched. Maybe they do. Maybe they become diehards and they love this and they can't miss out the sequel or whatever like that. Who knows? But the thing is that the main thing is just giving their IP to another audience to do that. And that's why when Phil puts his games everywhere, it's really not making a dent, and they're in the situation they are because the games they're putting out are not, especially with their big IP. Like Halo was for free. Like that should have blown up. That should have been like something that has been talked about for years and still has a strong going with content and episodic shows they were going to do. They even canceled the seasons. Like really, they lost their way. And that, like, you can't do that with the IP that you have. And then now they're just buying IP, and the marketing that they need to do to try to say Call of Duty is an Xbox brand and now Starfield is an Xbox IP. They're not even investing in that so much to kind of change the mind share that, hey, this is an Xbox brand now. So it's really, they spent all that money, and they would need to put tons of effort to kind of pull people away to make it think that, hey, Call of Duty is Xbox, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, that is an Xbox IP, as if it was a Halo or Gears, because those games started out as multiplat, and it's hard to kind of pull that. You got to do a lot of marketing and a lot of stuff, which they don't really have the budget for, apparently. So they're in a real pickle. And one of the things I want to bring as a Nib just was he put on Twitter is that this year, Phil Spencer has talked so much about the business that I don't even think he knows his audience anymore. Like, he's coming to a consumer-facing show, a consumer-streamed show, and saying that he has to deliver for the company.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't, like... No, you deliver for the consumer, right, and then on the back end, you deal with the company. But you don't tell us, like, hey, we're doing this because they have a high standard for us, the company does, and I have to deliver for the company. That is not consumer-facing talk. And I'm very surprised that you come to a consumer show, the Gamescom, where gamers are, your consumer, and you're on a streaming show live. Who's watching it? The consumer. And you are talking that like it's a business. I got to run the business, the company. I have to deliver for the company. I was like, deliver for the company.
Yeah,
it's true. Go on. You don't say that shit out. Like, you don't put that out there at a consumer place. I
think he was saving his skin, because I think he's inadvertently saying to the fans, guys, I'm not making this decision.
I know.
Right.
That's what I thought too. Because I was thinking he's just like, dude, I am done.
Yeah, he's like saying Microsoft is holding my feet to the fire here, and they have
what it sounded like.
Quote, high demand for return. And you know what? Let me just get the full quote.
Like they have a high bar. He should be like, we got a high bar for delivering quality stuff for the consumer. Like when he said high bar, I thought consumer was going to come out of there. Instead, he said the company. I'm like, oh,
he said it's definitely true. Inside of Microsoft, the bar is high for us in terms of delivery that we have to give back to the company because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing in what we're able to do. So basically, we got so much financial support and time and all the rest of it. Now we have to actually deliver. And sorry, guys, it's not my fault.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got to make money because we spent tons of money, and now we're in the bullseye, and that's what it is, and that's what this year's been. It's been about making the money back, and that's why I thought it was really interesting how they're going to do this Call of Duty approach, because the fastest way to make your money back is to sell the shit out of that game, and the fact that they're putting that thing in Game Pass, they're hoping.
That's what I was saying.
Just the same amount, and they hoping that Game Pass is additive and not taking things away, where they said themselves that Game Pass cannibalizes sales. So good luck, because I think they're wishing for a hope and a prayer, like that. They really sells crazy, and they get the subscriptions.
No, you're 100% right. And that's what I was asking Dessinger earlier before you joined, Jez. I said, has Microsoft made their own bed? Now they have to lay in it. They had to put Call of Duty into Game Pass. It's what they promised. Now they upped the tiers. Right, so now you got to pay more,
except for PC.
Except for PC.
Well, PC went up $1.
PC went up, but not a big deal.
It's the value of Game Pass, I do admit.
The value.
PC is a banger deal. If you
it is. Well, because nobody wants to deal with that piece of trash store.
I was just gonna say it's kind of bittersweet, isn't it, though, Singer?
Well, I mean, it's not only that. It's just PC gamers won't stand for the bullshit these corporations will throw at you. You saw what they've done to PlayStation already.
Yeah, but PC gamers don't like that Windows Store either, and that kind of Game Pass, it's not on Steam, so you got to deal with the former UWP version, usually the worst version of the game on PC, if you get it on Game Pass, where you rather buy it on Steam and get the best optimized version and more tinkering that you can do, because the Xbox version on PC is gimped.
Well, yeah, but some people still use I have Game Pass on PC, and
I do. But it is the GIMP version. If I want to buy it, I'm not buying it from there.
Oh no, I buy it off third-party sites. Like I'll go to
but third-party sites give you your Steam, because there's even, I don't know if it's HDR, but there's something, or no, it's VRR, right? Some games don't support VRR, but they'll do it on Steam, but not on the Windows. Like there are some games that miss out certain features like that if you get the Windows version of the game as opposed to the Steam version.
So
the store has a whole lot of issues, but if you're playing on PC, you generally play it through Steam, right? And you're never paying full price for a game anyway. So I mean, you take what you could get, and you could do all the things. I mean, if you're really smart, you'll buy the game on GOG, because when you do that, you get rid of
that I understand that's PC buying, but that has nothing to do with Game Pass on PC. That Game Pass on PC, it doesn't do anything of it. That's nothing about it. That's how you buy games on PC. But I'm talking about PC Game Pass goes through their store. They need to make that work with Steam. That's the ultimate deal right there. That's the ultimate pivot, and they don't have that right now.
See, they would do that, but the problem is Game Pass offers third-party games. If they gave Steam. Well, no, because Steam still gets a cut of every Xbox game sold on there. So they probably just tell them to fuck themselves. And that's just the way it's going to be. I mean, Gabe controls PC. That it is what it is. And
so,
dude, it's tough.
The one thing about it, too, with Game Pass that's a bit confusing. Shout out to Capone. Now, I don't know if this is actually true right now. Someone says it's on there now. I don't know, but he's saying he was upset that he found out Dead Island 2 was not on PC Game Pass. Now, I don't know if it was or it wasn't. I didn't look that up. I already owned it.
To be honest, most people just buy it through Steam anyway, at a discount. So it's like when a game, when they say a game is missing off PC Game Pass, it really doesn't make a difference because most people just buy their games anyway. So it's
but if it's on PC Game Pass, that means that they could usually they'll get it in there with their subscription. That's where it matters. Like, not they buy it anyway, but if it's in PC Game Pass, then it's included. If they're a paying subscriber, that's value to them. If it's not a PC Game Pass, then they have to buy it, and then it's like, well, why am I subscribed if I'm buying games anyway?
Right. It's you're double paying. I don't know. Yeah,
that's the whole point that people ask, and that's the other thing with this Game Pass stuff. It's so convoluted because a game will be on a list for like cloud and console, not on PC Game Pass, and then it'll show up on PC Game Pass and cloud, but not on console, or it'll be cloud and PC, but not on. It'll be cloud and it'll be like console and PC, but not cloud.
Right. That's why when people say, people say all the time, they're like, it's not confusing. It is, and it's like. It's just, it's not, it
depends.
I think for the casual consumer, that's why you don't see that number growing. You just don't see Game Pass growing. And I know that Microsoft's going to hide behind Game Pass, and that's how they're going to kind of move forward. Hey, who knows? Maybe in the future, once they don't do platforms anymore and they do leave hardware and Game Pass is the way to play their games, maybe that's how they actually grow. That's when they give one avenue. They're like, this is where you're going to play our games, period. But they're not going to do that. They're going to have it on Steam. They're going to have it on PlayStation. So Game Pass just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I do want to kind of focus a little bit. Shout out, by the way, the Ranting Greek Gamer. I appreciate that. Great to have Greece here in the house. I appreciate that, buddy. Good to see you. I do want to say this, though. Let's talk about Black Myth Wukong for a second. You guys have seen some of the gameplay. I played about 2.5 hours of it, Singer as well. A lot of people are asking me. So I did buy it on PS5. And I'll tell you right now. So I played through. I do want to discuss it a bit here. I played through. I tried the different modes. I tried balanced. Balanced didn't work for me. And Singer, me and you were talking about this earlier. Balanced for me gave a bit of, what were you calling, ghosting? Or I don't know how you were actually describing it.
It's like a blur or something.
It's like a blur or something, right? Yeah.
And that's a fundamental problem with the console version, not so much on
Now,
PC.
I do want to say, and Singer, I'll let you do the analysis in a second because you do a great breakdown. But I will say, I am playing it on performance mode. And I'm enjoying it. Performance mode, I'm not getting that ghosting. I'm not feeling any delay. I don't have any lag. I don't know if it's 60 frames or it's 55 or it's 49. I don't know. It feels good. It plays well. You guys were seeing, now I have some of my Call of Duty play right now from this week, but I was showing you, I mean, this is a dodge intensive game. It's not parry, it's dodge. And timing is of the essence. So I got through 3 or 4 of the mini bosses 2.5 hours in, and I didn't have any problems with lag. Singer, I just wanted to put that out there. That's how I'm playing it. I don't know what frames I'm getting. Apparently, the performance mode, according to Digital Foundry, is running at 1080p. That doesn't sound good coming out. You're at 1080p, but when I was playing it, and I took a lot of snapshots and put them on Twitter last night, it looked beautiful. It did. It really looked
Mooch,
good.
I know it sounds like counterintuitive, but I actually would not use the performance mode because it's frame insertion, right? So you're not actually getting lower input latency than the 30 frames mode. You're actually getting more.
That's what Singer was telling me before the show. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone playing the game, I would honestly just play the 30 frames mode or the balanced mode.
No, don't touch the balance mode. Don't touch the balance mode.
Yeah, I've been doing quality mode because balance mode looked too blurry to me, and
quality is probably the way because
I've done quality, and I'm on chapter 3, so I'm quite a deep way into the game. I think I probably have I've been killing it, probably 10 plus hours in the game. I literally took off work just to play it, loving it. But yeah, I would say quality is the way forward.
Okay, I didn't even try quality. I didn't.
All these problems. See, I'm playing on PC, right? Now, frame generation isn't a bad thing, right? But it works best at high frame rates. The game is a 30 FPS game, and it's telling you, oh, it's 60 FPS. Yeah, it's a fake-ass 60 FPS. It's actually 30 FPS, but thanks to frame gen, you're now at 60.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the input problem because the game is registering inputs at 30 FPS. It's not it doesn't recognize these extra frames. Now, me playing at like 60 to 80 or 100, you kick in frame gen, sure, you get some extra frames, but it runs much better and it does what it's supposed to do because it's a higher frame rate. So that's why when Digital Foundry called it out, they were like, "Oh, it's 30, but it's frame gen to 60." And then I instantly looked in the comments, and people were like, "Oh, that's a war crime," and I'm like, I mean, it is kind of because you even balance mode is 40 FPS. What a weird frame rate! And they pointed out, do you remember
45.
the Goth Arkham?
It's 45, but it looks
45.
blurry though.
It is
But
blurry.
the thing is, it has its issues, but it's such a weird frame rate because that Gotham game on the One X did it, as they pointed out. That was also 45, and it ran like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
So, I personally, you go quality on console. On PC, you don't have to worry about none of that because you could just customize to your heart's content.
Yeah. And they only have the motion blur. It's like high, low, and off.
Oh, just turn it off. Turn it off.
Yeah.
Oh,
but it's like that's what it has: high, low, and off. That's it, and no ray tracing, anything like that.
On console for 30 frames, guys, it's actually a pretty easy fix, right? Because as far as I could see, it very rarely drops below 30. If I think they said like one occasion the whole game. If they just did a 30 frames cap, it would be perfect. Like I'm okay with 30, but it's like the From thing again. Like for some reason, of these developers, they either have poor frame pacing or they don't do the cap. And Black Myth Wukong, luckily, I'm not sensitive to 30. For me, it's been a great experience on quality. I have no complaints at all. I think maybe like a handful of times I've seen a drop when I went under a waterfall, when I was dipping my head under it, and that the alpha effects caused a bit of a drop. And there was one boss, I think he turns into like a sorry for spoilers, but he turns into like a desert vampire ghost thing, and I think again it's the alpha effects because he's kind of like a opaque desert particle thing.
Yeah,
and that every time he did that attack, it dropped the frames a little bit, but it minor, like it wasn't a big thing.
So let me ask the question that's in the room. I see a lot of people in the chat saying it, and honestly, it's like I understand your points with the performance. It feels smoother. I have not tried quality, so pardon me, I won't comment on it, but I'll ask the question that the audience is asking. Nib and Jez, they're saying, why? Honestly, I wouldn't want to really play a game at 30 frames right now. I mean, is this far into this generation? Why is it? This is a UE5 game, correct?
I only played an hour or so in it, and I was messing around with all the modes, and I just kind of was like leaving it on the quality mode because the other mode was just too blurry.
Did you try performance? Why is it people are?
I think performance works better than that one. So I was just going back and forth with the performance. Again, I didn't even play it. Like, I was just under an hour. I was like just on the second boss.
Impatient Fire says PS5 Pro will save the day. The reason I will say yes, I would say yes is Death Singer was telling me that this game is GPU and intensive, right? So this one here would be. They said the PS5 Pro, when a game is GPU heavy, that's where you'll really reap a lot of the benefits of the Pro. Singer, is that true? You feel that way as well?
I see. The thing is, it's like when they're talking about the 30, this is the problem. You're paying $500 for the box, but when you buy it, that's it. That's the end of the story. That's your whole thing, right? There's no leeway or leg room.
There's no upgrade path.
So if your game is at 30 on console and it's 80 on PC, well, I spent $2,000 on my PC. You spent $500 on your console. I should have the better experience. So that's you are getting for what you're paying. And then you have to upgrade to the next console to get the better performance, where you just change out parts when needed, if you need to upgrade and whatnot. So that is also a limitation that's the benefit of having a console, but it's also one of the cons of having the console.
It's not that big a deal, though, because you can just sell your PS5 beforehand. I've done it every time with a mid-gen refresh. You can sell it. But because there was a price increase midway through, we basically don't end up losing much money, or we won't end up losing much money because the pricing, for some reason, has still stayed really high. And I know they dropped it by like $50, but it's not a lot. I think you probably lose £50 or £100 tops.
But weren't there still hitches in the game on PC as well?
Yeah,
it doesn't run
PC's
great.
not flawless. No.
I go on. Yeah, those hit. And also too, I think that the I'll tell you and the reason why I got on PlayStation is because I had all PlayStation credit, so I bought on PlayStation.
Yeah,
I ran the PC.
Too,
I ran the PC thing. I ran the test, and I thought the test was a little ingenuine, like a benchmark. Yeah, because I thought it was it was just going through, like there was no combat, there was no like particle effects, there was nothing to really kind of test the benchmark, like that you have different environments. Like it was just kind of just going through the thing, and I was getting pretty good frame rate, on there. I was like, oh wow, like this seems pretty well optimized. But the thing is that they really didn't benchmark it in the sense where combat characters on a simulated boss fight or something like that. I thought it was just a kind of a fly through. That was about it. Which was a little like, I think everybody's like, oh, this game's gonna run well. One of the things I'll say that I saw somebody put in the chat. One of the things I'm gonna tell you, and I think it was Weezed, the most disappointing thing this generation, not the console, it's not PC, it's not Phil Spencer. You know what it is? It's goddamn Unreal Engine 5 piece of shit.
Thank you.
That's what it is. Yes. Because they use that stupid engine to show us, oh, look at this is going to look like this with that stupid fake-ass demo. And Unreal Engine 5 is not ready for any of these friggin' PCs, any of these consoles. They're not ready for games. I don't know what the hell Epic is doing. Maybe they're milking that goddamn Fortnite money so much, but they made sure that Fortnite runs nice on that Unreal Engine 5, and they said, screw everybody else. You deal with it. And I think the performance of Unreal 5 has been a disaster, a train wreck.
I agree with that.
To point that. Have you seen Fortnite? Like, it's not the most graphically intensive game. So Unreal Engine 5...
It's using some of the shit. They made sure that thing looked good with Unreal.
Well, to be honest, it's their engine, so I'd expect them. But
they said screw everybody else. Do you remember how impactful Unreal Engine 3 was and 4? I remember when Gears of War, dude, was like, this is the first Unreal Engine game, and it was like, holy crap, look what it does. And everybody made games like that with that Unreal Engine, with the Unreal Tournament, and all. Like it was a de facto thing moving into the next generation. And they tried to do it with Unreal 5, and none of these. None of the technology could run it. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it, but it does not work. Look at Dragon's Dogma. That's another one.
Yeah.
Ran like trash on PC on console.
I would just say in Wukong's defense, right? I do think the game actually looks spectacular. And yes, it's 30 because I think like we've kind of become accustomed to 60 frames, but previously a lot of games, especially the sort of like showcase titles, they would be 30 frames, right? In the previous generations, your Uncharted's, your Rise, Son of Rome's, your Killzones or whatever, they all used to run at 30 frames. And I feel personally, and again, and maybe I'm wrong, but playing through this game in quality mode, for me, it's like, oh, this is the first Unreal 5 game I played where I really feel like this is a proper current gen showcase. And, Hellblade 2 looks unbelievable. Yeah, Hellblade 2 looks unbelievable. But it was so restricted. I was like, this actually feels like a tech demo because I'm basically going down a corridor. I don't really have much in the way of physics, AI, NPC, environment interactivity. There's like none of that, right? So I was like, yeah, it looks great, but it's basically like this generation's Rise, Son of Rome or Order 1886, but worse. It's actually more restrictive. Whereas I'm playing this and I'm like, this looks incredible, has insane geometric density, draw distance, physics, like every fucking bush and leaf, even the fur on the enemies and like the clouds in the beginning when you have that boss fight and you're swinging your staff about and you can see the physics-based cloud volumetrics like swirl about and stuff. I was like, to me, this feels like a next gen game. And yeah, I get it, it's not 60, but like for that reason, I can accept 30 because I feel like it really is like benchmark pushing, and it does show what the engine can do without at 30 frames mode looking completely garbage and being
the
like
thing with Unreal, people, it's a developer problem, right? Because they love all this native 4K. This look at all my bells and whistles and graphics, and what's the performance though? Oh, that's the performance. oh, how about you dial back some of those settings and prioritize performance instead of prioritizing graphics? Oh, that's a novel concept.
No, graphics sell. What's up for them? Pretty much.
Well, okay, if
when they show their game.
That's true.
You just said it yourself. You just said, look at Fortnite. It's not very. You just said it yourself. So graphics sells.
Yeah, graphics sells.
You said look at Fortnite when I said about the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, but then at the same time, it's like people go, I want the graphics, but I also want the performance. You're never getting that on console. They'll prioritize graphics, performance will suffer. If you want best of both worlds, you'll build yourself a PC.
Yeah, but that's not all this. You can't just jack everything up on a PC and go, I'm going to get 120 frames with ray tracing on and all this other stuff. So, no, there's give and take with that. It's going to be hard. You got to have enough overhead on your PC power, and the game has to not be that demanding in order to do that. So, it's not a clean, and that's the one thing that I say about PC gaming, because I do PC gaming, and the thing is that it is a give and take. It's a balancing act. And it's also dependent on how they make the game resource heavy, CPU heavy, GPU heavy. And also what you get at one time, you could have a bunch of enemies show up or a boss fight, and there goes you didn't anticipate for that overhead, and now your frame rate drops. So it's not, it's definitely a recipe on there. You can, if you do have enough overhead, you got the 49, you got all the top of the stuff, that might last you for some time, and you could jack everything up, but then there's going to come that game that's not optimized, that's still at a 4090 and doing that stuff. So yeah, PC is great, but it's not a clean slate. Like just go buy a $5,000 PC and you get 150 frames to 250 frames at ray tracing on and 4K. Like that, I haven't seen that.
Wukong drops even on a 4090.
It drops on a 4090. So and blame the dev and the engine.
No. The thing is, it's like what people are missing is options, right? I could go into the settings.
Yes.
And if it's saying, like, for example, if you want to save some performance on PC, drop the quality of the foliage in the settings, because that uses up
but that's not what you said. You said if you want the best looking and the best the most of everything.
Yes, because
you're talking about turning things down though. You're talking about I thought you were mentioning it's all maxed out, everything.
No, but like
you said get a PC if you want it all maxed.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the guy on Digital Foundry. He's got the 4090, he's got the Intel CPU, and he's running it with ray tracing on 4K max settings. And he's getting over 80 FPS. Now, shout out to DLSS.
Oh, no, I want 240. I want 144 FPS.
We get below 60 though.
80. I want 144 with all that. But that's what you're saying, though. You're trying to make it look like it's this. You get everything at the highest thing. No, there's compromises, and that's what I was trying to say. There's compromises that you have to make in order to get what you personally want. And you're right, options are there. You could turn off stuff. And that is wonderful. You could do all that stuff, but it's not just go get a PC if you want to just like get the most performance, the best, the highest performance, the highest, because everybody's threshold is different.
I wouldn't say the word highest. I think the right word to use, Singer, is just you would be able to get the best, but you wouldn't be able to get the highest. You wouldn't. You'd have to make compromises.
That's the way it is. Unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
Mooch, I will say I did with that wrong. I mean, if you want the best balance, so like you can have so like for example on the console you're stuck at 30, and then they do some weird shit to get to 60, and you're stuck at 1080p in performance mode. Whereas I can get 1440p, settings, 120 FPS probably. Turn off ray tracing because it's so taxing. Why do you even need it? But let's say you throw on ray tracing, turn on DLSS, and then you're still getting a game that looks equal, if not superior to the console version. But at the same time, you're getting better performance, so you can balance it. You are given the options.
Oh, there's no doubt the game
as good as it can be. Whereas on console, you don't have that option.
You can't do anything.
No, I get it.
No, I totally understand that, and I was not challenging that at all. No, it's better on PC. If you want the best that this game could look and run, then get a PC. But you were saying just like everything is the best of everything, like the highest of everything, and there is a balancing act for that.
I think part of the reason for that though is because on the console side, especially because they're doing like low access, low level API management, like I don't think they can be as broad because they're trying to do finite optimization specifically for the hardware, right? So they're like, okay, we can't have too many variables because then you desynchronize from the finite adjustments that they're making, especially if they're doing low level access. So I think this is just one of those things with consoles. But on the plus side, generally for the hardware that you're paying for, which is I don't know what it is, like a 6600 XT or something like that equivalent, the PS5, you're going to be getting you're going to be I mean I don't know Nvidia, but I'm doing AMD because that's what it's based off of. But basically the PS5 is going to be performing much better than the PC GPU equivalent and the CPU equivalent, etc., because of that finite optimization. So this is just one of those trade-offs, right? Like, yes, you get a fixed, you don't have the flexibility of adjusting settings and stuff, but on the plus side, for your bang for buck, for the money you spend, you're getting performance that outweighs the cost. Let's just say.
Interesting. Yeah,
it's interesting, but Black Myth is probably going to be Game of the Year contender. It's going to be in the nominations.
I'm fucking loving it.
I think a lot of people are saying.
I also want to point out they proved my PC point in China. Look at those numbers when China shows up to support, and this further goes why it's so hard against China.
That does help, and it actually doesn't, right? I mean, because you have a base of consumers that are supporting and really getting around it. If that number, I mean that's an anomaly, right? Because that number doesn't pop up for all types of games that follow, like Neo 2. That number didn't spike, right? And you could.
What I'm on about is the whole how China is majoritarily PC.
I understand.
I liken it to League of Legends, right? 140 million monthly active users. How many? I have a pop quiz.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 145 million monthly active players, League of Legends, right? How many do you think come from China of that number? Throw a number out there.
Wait, what was the large number? I was just searching something.
145 million. What percentage comes from China?
Oh, probably 100 million.
80,
right?
80, but yeah. Like, so they are massive into that. That's why when I saw the numbers of Black of Wukong, I was like...
Mooch said no one else except Chinese people play League of Legends.
No. I knew the number was going to be. Well, listen, majority. I know Deathsinger, and Deathinger's making a point. So if he's saying 145, I'm like, well, he's not saying that if it was 12. So I was like, right. So I was playing kind of devil's advocate there. But I mean, I would say this much though. Like I was just looking up, like what was it there? Wolong. Not that that's the reference. Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Similar type of game. Right? I mean, I played them both.
It's a bad game, though.
Well, you could say that. That's fine. But I'm just trying to say to you, like, it's not like this is a boss run type of game, which I'm also enjoying very much. But you know what I'm saying? I'm saying you're saying these numbers, and you're like, well, this is what I was telling you last week, Mooch, and I was telling Nib this because PC supports games like this. This is a little bit of a different situation, right? Because this game is being supported because they are Chinese developers and they are supporting their developing team, and they are supporting. It's like one of the big games that come out from China, right? In that retrospect, so like those numbers are large. But I'm asking you, are they inflated? You think the numbers are slightly inflated?
I don't think they're inflated. I think they just come in to support, because the problem with Wolong is it's done by Team Ninja, which is a Japanese developer, right? Whereas this is done purely in-house by a Chinese developer in their home country, and the people have come out to support their own game. Like, Wolong is, as much as they like to dabble in it, it's still a Japanese developed game. So
I think also the whole, like, journey to the West, like, being based in, true Chinese culture, because I've spoken to Chinese people, they're like, oh, they're literally replying to my tweets. You can have a look in Chinese. I'm using the Google Translate, right? and they're so proud of this because they're like, all of these characters, they're telling me all of these characters are from Chinese mythos and culture, and this person's this, and I find that fascinating. I'm like, that's so cool. Like, I didn't actually know that. I haven't watched.
I mean, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, that they got everything literally from that. Like, Goku is... No,
it's not... Yeah, as in Dragon Ball Z got it from... Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Goku is... Exactly. They, bar for bar, Journey to the West story. Like, it's so influential, and when they go, oh, this is your premiere story made by your own studio?
Right.
Yeah, of course they came out to support.
So they came out to support.
If they make another game, the same thing will happen, right? They'll come out and support.
I think exactly, Singer. That's all I'm trying to say by inflated. It's like, that's just what it is. It's like, if I have a local Nebula like this, I have a restaurant, and I have a grand opening, right? And Singer drives by and goes, I don't think Mooch's grand opening is going to go so well. He drives by, he sees the place is packed, there's a line around the corner. But he finds out he finds out the next day that it's my entire family that loaded the place, right, to support me, right?
But so you know what I will say, though? I think we are being unfair to it because, and I get it. The reviews are like, 83 or something like that. I don't know how much politics played into that score because I know there was sexism and some stuff around the thing, and some journalists scored it lower because of diversity.
Yeah, that was like
I don't know.
That was like
but
one
I will
or two.
say,
I don't think it played that big.
Yeah, but I think it's also a combination of the game just actually being really high quality, from the production to the gameplay to the.
That's a big part of it.
I won't give away.
It's incredible. Like, I thought the sound of the music,
the sound is beautiful.
Games don't surprise me that much, but every chapter you play, you basically get this an animated short. One of them is stop motion. One of them is anime, and it's just little things. Like, they've made these whole ass films in all these different styles, and it just feels so creative, and there's so many amazing quality of life things, the physics, the bosses, I think there's 81 bosses in the game. It's just unreal amount of content and focus, especially for a studio that used to do bloody mobile games. And I think I think genuinely the game is just really high quality. It's such a great, and I know people say it's like Soulsborne, but honestly for me it feels more like playing Chinese God of War, but on Give Me God of War difficulty. Honestly, it feels like with the magic, the big enemies, the all the abilities, and the
well, it started like that. It was funny, Nib, that you say that, because I was thinking how it started with this epic fight, at the end, this big fight. I was like, it reminded me of a start of a God of War, where you have this big fight in the beginning. God of War 3, God of War 2018.
So I want to get B. I want to hear your take on this. I got a couple of super chats here. True Virgil, this is going back a bit, so Singer, I'll let you defend it later. But shout out to True Virgil. He says Death Singer said Indiana Jones would not come to PS5. I don't remember him saying that, True Virgil, but you have impeccable memory. So we'll see what he says in a moment. Siru21 says if you can't max out everything, the $2,000 sounds like a bit of a waste. I mean, we went over that. Blessed Red, he says the obvious here. He says, I have a 4090. On Black Myth Wukong, he says, I can get better graphics, image quality, and frame rates than a PS5. Playing on a 4K QD OLED.
Of course.
You can have it all.
Someone give us
also, to the Indiana Jones statement, you see, I can go.
I don't know how 4090 is going to fix Indiana Jones, though. I don't know about that.
No, that it
will. It will.
Over here.
Okay. I'll tell you now, the community will fix Indiana Jones, all right? As tradition with the
You mean mods? We're gonna have mods.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's gonna happen. Yeah,
that's what I mean. I want the mods.
I mean, apart from Doom, because id knows what they're doing. Shout out to id for being the real ones. But for the others, visit the modding community at all costs when Indiana Jones comes out, because you're gonna need some of that shit. You needed it with Starfield. You're gonna need it with this game.
Doom runs incredible on PC too. That engine is insane.
Well, that's because id is
they started it all.
Developer, So I would expect id to be honest, masters of PC gaming.
Yeah,
it hasn't always been like that though, because I know Doom is amazing, the engine, but I remember the Rage engine was pretty it was not great. They used some sort of tile system where it was like asset streaming texture tiles, and it didn't run the best, and it was a bit sloppy, had texture pop in and stuff. So I'm glad they moved away from that and they're using id Tech again, because
I mean, it tech is the GOAT if you're making that kind of game. If you're making a first-person shooter in general, I personally think id should make the next Halo. But
I agree, yeah.
I mean, because
I'll take anybody right now.
Anybody right now, absolutely. Oh.
Anybody.
For everyone who's playing Wukong, let me just get like a temperature check. What rating, based on what you've played, would you be? Are you hovering around?
I only played an hour or so of it, but it's definitely up. Like it's high quality. I would definitely like be in the 8s somewhere so far, but I only played like an hour or so. But it's definitely. I said the sound really got me. The story, the atmosphere, and the combat, and also seeing the leveling up that you're gonna do and how deep that is, and how like not only you can get the stances in addition to all the other abilities that you're doing, and then the magic. Like is definitely something that's like, yeah, this is really in depth, and they did such a great job. And I think that's a big motif for this year is these studios that have not made traditionally console or big AAA games coming out. Like I would say the top games like I've had is Grand Blue Fantasy and Stellar Blade. Like them coming out and just making these games, the pacing, the story, the graphics, the combat, the leveling up, the longevity, like the way they've done it, I think they've done fantastic jobs, and it's great seeing newcomers just kind of like show how it should be done, because I think a lot of the West, like a lot of like us, have lost like the meaning of what games are. It's all turned into slot machines and goddamn money makers, and it's like, yo, just make a game. Like, stop worrying about the whole like how are we gonna sell them more stuff. How are we going to get the coins? It's like,
why don't you worry about
Atlantic City? So to that point, I'd give it a score. I'm currently like a couple of hours in, probably 3-4 bosses. I can't remember. But I had to stop it because I need to finish my other game. Because I'm right at the end of it, so I may as well finish it, then play it, because I need to beat this game, Wukong, before Space Marine 2. So, time constraints, okay? I'm working under... Score? I would score it so far 8 out of 10, and mainly obviously, I love Chinese mythology. I watch a lot of their Donghua shows, which is their version of anime. And that opening sequence reminded me straight out of one of those shows, because you have the big special effects. He brings out the axe and then he makes it grow incredibly large and then swings it down on top of him. And I'm like, this is...
Splits the mountain in half. It's thick.
It is chef's kiss. The power level and the way they show it off.
I gotta say, shout out real quick to Mash for the 40 gifted subs, buddy. I can't say thank you enough. Outstanding. Mash, that is a Mash bomb for sure. That's a tribute to Reforge, I'm sure. That's a Mash bomb. Shout out to Mash. I really appreciate that.
What about you, Mooch?
Well, I'll tell you, so I'm only about 2.5 hours in. I think that where it kind of sits, I mean, this is early on, so is it really fair to me? It's not a fair assessment yet. I would definitely say this is probably going to be somewhere in that 82 to 84 range. I think where it's sitting is probably fairly accurate. I think the one thing about it, again, I'm early on, so just discussing the game early on. Please, guys, don't hold this to me. I may change my mind when we talk about this next week. Because I'm going to continue it because I love the gameplay. The gameplay, and I am so refreshed to have a dodge versus a parry. I know a lot of people like the parry, but between Lies of P and between Elden Ring, the one thing I want to say is the gameplay is refreshing. It feels good. I love the movement. I like that you defeat a boss. It feels good. I saw a couple of reviewers saying this when I was watching the reviews before it came out. And they were like, you really do have that hand. Same thing like, Elden Ring. That hand, like, pumping. You're like, I just beat this boss. You feel like you earned something. Like, it was a well done fight, well earned fight. Pardon me. The thing about it, I think that does bother me right now a bit about it, Nib. To answer your question, the reason it's not higher than that 82 threshold is, the world is gorgeous, and the rivers, the lakes, the streams that you run through and everything, amazing. The foliage is beautiful, but it's a lot of empty space, and I'm early on. So
and linear in a sense, like very path focused.
Listen, and you know what, Jez? You can go ahead and ding it for that if you want. I'm gonna go ahead and not say that because with this whole open world we live in now, everything's open world. I welcome a bit of linearity again. So I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, I agree.
But you know what I mean?
Especially if you're doing boss runs, like you don't want to be like lost again. Yeah, you don't want to waste your energy.
But I do feel that the world it could be more inhabited, Nib. I think that would be my only thing.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, like it's such a lush world. You want more activity, more stuff going on.
More stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just pick up the same the same mushrooms and flowers. But go ahead, Nib. Yeah.
So I was going to say I'm on chapter 3. So I don't know if this is spoilers. I don't think it is. But basically, every chapter is a different biome.
Yes.
So like you get a different environment and different kind of architecture and stuff like that. So the first is forest, second is desert, and the third is snow, which they're like my favorite 3. So it's great. I'm probably sitting at a 9, but I will say, and so I preferred Life of P and Celebrate to Shadow of the Erdtree, but Elden Ring is my favorite of the lot. That gave a 9.5, Shadow of the Erdtree 8, Lies of P, and Celebrate I gave an 8.5. So far, if I was to compare like the first 10-15 hours of all the games, this is the highest for me, definitely. So I'd say I'm probably sitting at a 9. I do think, weirdly enough, again, as someone who's completed all these games, I actually think this will defeat more people than any of the other games, including Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree, because later on, there's some bosses in this that are insane. Like, and to the point where, you know how in those other games, like they have things like items and potions and all these other things that you can do, but you don't really need them. I think in Shadow of the Erdtree, the only time you ever actually need to worry about stuff like that is Consort Radahn, the final boss. Then you need to buff yourself up and do all of that stuff. This, you have to use items and buff yourself up with all the key bosses. And even then, you'll only get out by a sliver and probably have to repeat it many times. But I love it. It's so rewarding because I've never felt any of the bosses are cheap. And I didn't really have this in Shadow of the Erdtree, where like I think I steamrolled like every boss except like a couple. Whereas this one, I feel like
but when you did that DLC though, Nib, did you farm a lot of those seeds? I'm calling them seeds. They were not seeds, whatever they were actually appropriately called.
I did quite a lot of exploration. Just I actually tried to find as many seeds as I could before I tried to get stuck into the bosses.
Okay.
Just because I was like trying to feel the world. I didn't really know what was out there, but I thought maybe I'd get new weapons and like I said, upgrades and things. But this it's much more organic, the boss fights. Each one has a different style, each one has a different focus. I love the settings for them as well. They're really dramatic, they're really characterful, like they have a lot of personality. Elden Ring has awesome bosses, but they're all kind of like gloomy and mystical. They're all kind of like, I'll say 1 or 2 words and then I'll fight. Whereas in this, they're like, some of them are really like playful and some of them crack jokes, and they have different abilities and magic powers, and they can grow big, small, or all sorts of things. So like really creative. I love the characters design. I love the story rollout. And yes, the environment, it's not super populated, but I enjoy the fact that it's a linear with focus, because I feel like I'm constantly making progress. I'm constantly getting new stuff, constantly getting new abilities. Everything I'm doing in the world is rewarding me, and I love that. And it's cool how they are fine with you experimenting. There's no cost to respeccing. You can literally respec anytime, refund your skill points and your skill tree points at any time, and you actually will have to do that constantly. So certain bosses you'll face and you'll be like, okay, this isn't working. Maybe I need to put my points in a different stance, or a different magic, or a different ability focus. Maybe I can shift my build to be more like magic mana based instead of physical. And you can instantly on the fly just respec your character, give it a go. And then when you overcome it, it's really rewarding. It's like, oh snap. Like Elden Ring, I'm playing the game the whole way as Rivers of Blood, and I didn't really need to think of anything else. Whereas this game, I'm really having to like micromanage my build and change things around to beat different enemies and bosses. Like maybe one of them is like there's like 4 or 5 enemies, they're super fast, So I can't do my charge attacks as much.
Right.
I need to refocus to do like, quick combos and do more like not parrying, dodging with focus points and stuff like that. Whereas another boss who's slower, I can switch to like heavy power-based attacks and magic and stuff like that. So it's cool. Like I'm really enjoying it. I think there's an absurd amount of content and absurd amount of bosses. I think at one point I was literally facing a new boss or mini boss every like 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I've only played 2.5 hours and I had 4 mini bosses. So how long do you think the game is, Nib, in total?
I actually don't know, but I can tell from my skill tree and from like the magic and it's not just magic. You get these like, there's loads of stuff you unlock basically. I can tell that I've still, even though I've played it for so long and I'm on the third world, I feel like there's probably still a lot to go based on how many more powers and stuff I've got left to unlock. But even if it ended like in the next 5-10 hours, I would still be really satisfied. But I have a feeling there's a lot more to go because I've probably killed, I don't know, like 25-30 bosses or something, maybe more, but I think I've read there's 81 including sub bosses altogether, so it's stacked.
Okay. I personally think with the comparison to Elden Ring, it's different because they're supposed to be different. Like you think Elden Ring, it's the whole gloomy and dark. The whole gloomy and dark is part of the dark fantasy high fantasy setting, whereas Journey to the West isn't neither of them. It's more pretty, lively, it's bright, as you can see from the game. So I think it's supposed to be more fun than that, whereas Elden Ring, they're going for everything is shitty, it's dark, gloomy, you're probably gonna die, your life's shit, get over it.
So I agree, and I think that's the way it should be. But that's why I compared it to like God of War earlier, because I feel like this is more like a grand adventure, and all these weird characters. Like you guys have met the dude with the like hairy face, is like a baby looking dude, and you meet lots of quirky characters throughout, and I'm just like, wow, these are really fucking cool. These look so interesting, and they're doing really interesting stuff. Like there's one dude, I'll give this away, it's not a big thing, you're gonna meet him soon. He like, it's a headless dude that plays guitar. And every now and again you go to a place and he'll appear, he'll be like, and he's playing this music on a guitar, and it's just cool having his music in the background while you're exploring this area. It's just little things like that just give it that little extra touch and detail.
No, I can definitely dig that. So let me ask you guys a question. Since we're talking about game releases here, let's talk about the other big elephant in the room here. Concord early access released. I actually got the code, which is great. I have it. I can play it. I have not gotten a chance to because I got them both on the same day, and I decided to go with Black Myth Wukong instead. But shout out to the great J-Dub. I think J-Dub's listening to the show. He just wrote me, he said, Mooch, I'm listening to the show. He's like, you want to get on afterwards? I said, I just might. I have to work tomorrow, so I don't know how long I can be up, but I got to be honest with you. I'm very tempted to get back into it. I had a good time. You guys know I had J-Dub on a few weeks ago. Jez, you've talked about this in depth as well because you played the beta. With a team, it's a lot of fun. Shout out to Willie Gamer, by the way. And again, another great shout out to the great Mash for those membership drops. Thank you, Mash. I appreciate it. I'll start with Jez. Jez, if I can get together with you and Jay and Link and we play, along with also shout out to Jay Bari, shout out to Persona. Those guys have been doing their thing and playing it and streaming it as well. They've gotten the early access since I believe it was Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. But like I said, I ended up playing Wukong last night, and then today I got home and we're doing the show. So it is what it is. But Jez, I actually am looking forward to getting back into it and playing. Again, I'm not trying to say this takes the place of my Call of Duty. You know damn well it's not going to. But it is that other kind of, it kind of scratches that itch that you have when you say, I don't want to play Call of Duty again. So you have this team-based, I think the game plays very well. I think it looks good. I mean, is this something, we all know that Friday's not going to get here and the game's going to blow up, Jez. You know that, I know that, right? We both know that. But is this a game that makes it a year from now, a year and a half from now, because they keep with it, they stay with it, they add more free runners, they keep adding more maps, they keep giving you more skins, they give you more weapons. This game continues to evolve a lot like Overwatch. Overwatch started as it was. I understand Death Singer did an outstanding job last week, and he was right. You guys might say he wasn't right, but he was right. They did come out with some more compelling characters. Okay, I understand that. no matter how you want to divvy up that conversation, but they were compelling. More people were attracted
Marvel
to
Rivals.
Right. Marvel Rivals coming out December. But again, I don't know if necessarily we could say, well, Marvel Rivals is coming out, so Concord and Overwatch and Valorant are not going to. I mean, I do think that plays a role in anything with Marvel gets attention. But do you think that it can survive in the long run?
I don't know. Like I don't know. It depends on what the content is. But I can tell you the difference from last time to this day. They did show that they fixed some things from the beta, which two huge things was the drop in, which was great. They could just drop in and do that because when people would, and the drop out penalty, because people would just quit games if they're losing and just leave you there. So it made it really hard if you were just playing by yourself or playing with two people. Like if your teammates left, that you were stuck with that. There was nobody to backfill your team. So they fixed that.
Oh, they did
from
fix
the
that?
beta feedback on Tuesday. Yes.
Oh,
that was
God.
on the on
okay,
Tuesday.
I missed that
So I was like, oh, good. So there's a penalty for quitting, and that'll stack if you keep doing that. And they'll put you like in a waiting area, like it'll take you longer.
Listen,
to queue
the
into
penalty's
game.
fine, Jez, but I was more concerned with them just filling the. Because there was
Yes,
at least
like drop in. Yeah, you couldn't drop in a game. You
yeah,
like,
I'm playing
so
5v3.
yeah,
We were getting destroyed. Yeah,
exactly. So now it will backfill into that. They did that, and then they also, what was the other thing? I think that they turned on the crossplay with the PC. PC that's on by default or something like that. And then what else was? But those are the two big things. Oh, and then they fixed the UI too. They were basically saying like there's more scalability of some things to the UI that you can move around. So they definitely took the feedback back and actually improved on that. So long wise, like, is it going to do something in here? I don't know. I'm more concerned if I'm going to keep playing. If I get it, I'm going to keep playing it throughout the rest of this year. And, I'm definitely getting a bit of I'm in that shooter time because I've been playing a lot of these other games and it's like, I could love just to jump in and do a shooter. And it was fun doing the beta and stuff like that, especially, having a social game that everybody could jump in and play. And I could tell you from like my friends list, a lot of people have the game. Like you could see how many friends are going to play, how many friends are playing. It seems like a lot of people on the PlayStation list have it there. So maybe it has some sort of legs on PlayStation. I think on PC it's an uphill battle. There's a lot of competition there. It may get some sort of traction, but it's not going to do I don't think it's going to do anything close to Helldivers 2 at all. Like it's not going to. There's too much competition, and I think too it's not different. It doesn't differentiate itself enough to what's already available for free on PC. I think it may have some legs maybe on the PlayStation, but it also depends. If these free runners come out and they're hokey dokey and they're just not, they don't really add anything to the game, like then, we'll have to see. Or if they put one in there that's going to change the game up. I think personally, the beta was great, but the given everything there, but I think they should have held out on some stuff to make something new and refreshing on day one.
Yeah.
The fact that you're just you pay now and you turn on and basically got the thing that you were paying for free over a weekend for 2 weekends in a row. Like, it's just kind of like, I wish there was some content that they kind of kept for launch, maybe for some new characters that you'll do it rather than just getting the same thing you played. Yeah. With some few fixes and updates, but content wise, like, a new game mode or something like that, but we got to wait for that.
I was going to say, I almost think what they have in season 1, and I understand, I get it, because whether you're a Warzone person or any type of games as a service or live service game, they want you to ramp up your weapons, get some things leveled up before you go into season 1. But I do agree with you, Jez. I think a lot of this, a few of the season 1 things that they're giving us should have been brought over when the game launched. So that way, it's like that incentive, right? Yeah. Like a worm on a hook. It's like, go ahead, Singer.
I actually can't wait to see what the numbers are when it comes out of early access.
He can't wait.
I'm just curious because, like, I think the writing was on the wall when you looked at the closed beta for Marvel Rivals and you saw the numbers.
Yeah.
And then you look at the open beta for Concord.
Yes.
And you look at the numbers, and it's like closed beta is invite only. This is open to every single person available for free, and you still pulled those numbers. Mm-hmm. That's kind of telling you, hey, we aren't really messing with your game. That might be for a variety of reasons, but I think it's because everything else is free to play on PC. All the super successful games outside of Call of Duty are free to play.
Yeah.
Well, Warzone's free to play. So, I mean, there's that. But, like, you're diving into this market. And Marvel Rivals, and not only that, I thought it was coming out next year. But now it's coming out this year.
December.
And Concord's only going to have a couple of months. And then Marvel Rivals will come out. And I just want to see what the numbers are, to see what the reception was.
It's going to be interesting, Singer. I will say this much. You're going to have a push at this launch, though, for getting probably streamers to play it. You're probably going to get Sony. You know, there's going to be influencers.
And all the characters are
all available. Yeah, so you'll see. Do I think you're going to see, like, Marvel Rivals numbers? No way. Not even close. But I do think that you'll see a larger number. I don't know. I just think this is one of those games that if it's not costing Sony a fortune to keep this team afloat, they're probably going to let it keep going. And listen, I use the example that everybody uses the example with me is I'll use Sea of Thieves. You know, Sea of Thieves didn't have the 50,000 people watching it on Twitch like it does now, or 25,000 people at a time. You know, that kind of took a long time for them to add content. This probably needs content. It needs more. It's launching with decent amount of content, but it probably needs more. And like you say, you have to have that
fundamentally doesn't appeal. Like, it's hard to explain it, because when I think of other games in the genre that it's competing against, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, Valorant, these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Look at all these hero shooters.
Yeah.
And I know it's... Just bear with me on this. The sex appeal isn't there, right? All these other games have it in spades, right?
Oh, here goes that. We're talking about the asses again. I remember this last week.
And
that's a recommendation from us.
The thing is, though,
you need to set up a rating. That's like you need to set a rating. Like give it 2 asses, 2 fine asses, 4 fine asses.
Yes. What I will say though, as much as graphics sell, sex also sells, my friend.
There you go.
Listen,
that's like it gives it 2 asses.
No, I mean, Concord gets 1 ass. No, Concord gets half an ass.
It gets a half.
And it's not even
one
cheek.
Oh
shit!
You get 1 cheek. Listen, I gotta say this though. If Death Singer is
correct, hairy ass you get. Oh no,
half of a cheek. That's not even. I don't know if that's a rating. I want to say this though. I got a question for you guys. Do you think we'll see characters, you know, step up in that category that Singer's talking about and have more of a sex appeal? Do you think that is something that we'll see if this does not do well? Will they go in that direction? I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting thing to keep an eye out for. I know Singer's...
I think they set the tone. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't know. People that it didn't. I don't know. The character stuff for that really didn't bother me too much. Like it does bother a lot of people, though.
Jazz, look at First. It's First Descendant, right? First Descendant is going in the complete opposite direction.
People going crazy. Like I'm like,
yeah. I think this is Grum's like worst nightmare or something.
If I was running around as a bearded lady, maybe. I don't know.
I'm just like, I don't care about this. I don't mind.
I'm like, it's a little much.
I know. We've recently had Stellar Blade, which is right exactly with what we're talking about. But I got to agree with Jez just said. I don't think about it like that. Like I said, a lot of that. I'm playing multiplayer games. I told you guys this last week. So I don't. I'm usually Rick Grimes or I'm Black Noir. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like I don't even like think about it. I'm just like out there like trying not to die. I want to win. What makes me happy is when I look at that leaderboard at the end. You know, I want to see my name on the top. I don't care.
Also, if the thing is though, if you can have skins unique, like. Obviously, because you don't have to buy the skins in Concord, you don't have to worry too much about the sex, even though it should still be there. Like the women should look like women, but like you would look at stuff like to sell a skin, like as someone's brought up, Bunny from the First Descendant, like the First Descendant Bunny. That had people acting up, and people played the game and bought the $80 skin or the maximum dollar skin. And the instant, no question, they didn't even hesitate. And it's like, they know that sells. And it also, in a hero shooter with big flashy ultimates, is a bit strange because everyone else has them, and it has real impact. That's part of my problem with the gameplay, because I was using the rocket launcher chick who flies around. And I was like, but I wish I had something like big, impactful ultimate move that can turn the tide of a game. Like, oh, we need a squad wipe in order to win or something, and it's like, okay, let me hit my ultimate real quick. And I don't get that feeling. Like when I was playing Marvel Rivals, it had the fun. Oh yeah, let's go do this, let's go do that. When we were all playing Concord, we were like, it's good, but it doesn't have any feeling to it.
Doesn't have that.
That's the word. Yeah. It doesn't have any feeling to the game. Like it just feels like you're going through the motions.
Here's the thing. So there's no Singer. What you just said is a valid criticism. I'm saying to you, one of the other things, I don't know if it was Jez or you said it last week. You said the map seems small. So
yes,
if the map seems small, hear me out, and everybody has a mega at the end, right? Each of us have this massive ultra weapon. It may be over dominating in a smaller map. That may be something that they had to take into consideration when they were doing their, when they were developing the game and they were mapping things out. They said this would give an unfair advantage to a team that may have their supers leveled up at the end, and it's just a complete team wipe. I don't know. I'm saying that if that's the case, I thought the maps were a little bit on the small side, so I agree with you there. But I think that the way that the game is actually designed, it worked. It didn't bother me. I felt it to a certain degree, but it didn't bother me.
What I found in the beta, I was going to say, is once you get kind of like adept at it and your team is quite strong,
yes,
you notice the flaws with the map design. Because I'm not even joking. There was one point we had like a really good setup where everyone had a different ability and we basically were controlling every map. And I think we went like 13 rounds without losing in TDM. Yeah. It was just insane. Like I actually don't think at that point we were beatable, at least not with the level of experience that the public had at the time. We were like cheesing the shit out of it. We had like the spores guy, we had the shield, like we were kind of like had a base where we were indestructible. If we stepped into it, we would get healed and not be able to be shot. And then we just had an answer for everything. Even people with grenades, like we just put the shield up, the grenades can't go through the shield.
Yeah.
And what was happening is when we had that base, 2 or 3 of us would just like roam around and basically pick them off at spawn points. And you start noticing that, because the problem with the game, which I did enjoy by the way, is that the team time to kill is so high and squad killing is so dominant that if you do spawn and you're away from your squad,
yes,
but the other team is hounding in a squad, it's extremely hard to turn the tide.
That's correct.
So difficult.
That's 100% correct.
So I think
I'm one of those gamers that I like to go rogue every once in a while, Nib. So I found that to be a bit frustrating as well.
Yeah, here I can't.
So the thing is, what he said there is like, see, that's the kind of thing with like Marvel Rivals. It's like, see, when you're completely outmatched, there's no comeback mechanic. It's just, well, you lose. Whereas, let's say on Rivals, when I was in the beta, it's like, okay, we're about to lose the objective. There's like, they've almost captured it, and it's like, okay, well, you save your ultimate, I save my ultimate, you jump in, squad wipe them. You've just saved your game. If you don't have those ultimates,
but do you know what it is?
That game is just lost.
I don't think they even need that. I think all they need is a proximity-based respawn. So rather than respawning in delegated respawn points, when your say team is down a certain number of points, it will always spawn you right next to your squad mate or next to 2 squad mates. Because if it did that when the other team is already together in a group and dominating, then you could actually turn the tide. Because the main problem is trying to find your squad in order to team kill them back. And that's where you get picked off, and it's basically like an endless loop. But once you are that squad doing the team killing, it is so difficult for people to come back. Like, you could absolutely.
I think it got misgenred. It should have been an arena shooter, not a hero shooter, because the small map and the way it works. But calling it a hero shooter, I don't think it fit. They could say it's a hero shooter, but it doesn't really fit the dynamic, because the hero shooter is generally large maps, ultimate abilities. There's tons of back and forth, whereas this feels more like a Quake. more like in a small arenas. It's team deathmatch. You have some abilities, but you don't have like ultimates and stuff. It's just about the gunplay and mechanics. So I think if they make
a larger play area, if you will, larger map, they could probably add more to this game. Again, that's why the question wasn't, of course we know on Friday it's not going to blow up, but the question is does it have legs? Because it is polished and it is a well-made game. Listen, it doesn't matter if we're talking about, structure or we're talking about a video game. Any building that you buy, someone will tell you, they'll go, you have to redo the kitchen, you have to redo the bathrooms. You need to pull the wallpaper down and paint it and maybe re-sheetrock it. But it's got great bones, right? So it's got a great structure. And when you have great structure to a building, you can always make the building better. It's when the crumbling structure, right? The foundation is
I will
fantastic.
say that even though I said what I said about the size of the maps, I actually think the maps themselves are really well designed because they have so much funneling and entry points, and each one will have like a couple of central spots where multiple avenues connect into one, so it's like a choke point, and where all the fighting takes place. Then they'll have branches where and if you're intelligent and you have like good sort of awareness and IQ of environments, you can actually do really well because you can constantly flank, you can loop around, you can go through little little secrets, pockets and stuff like that. So once you get an understanding of the maps and stuff, it definitely does reward experience and intelligent play. So I think there's a lot of good quality things there, and there's a great diversity of characters. I don't mean in how they look, even though they look really different too, but in their abilities and weapons and the function they play in a match. Because once you get away from just being your favorite and everyone kind of goes into their role that will benefit the team as a whole, it really rewards that. Like, you can really dominate.
Absolutely.
I can see it. It'll maintain probably a stable, I'd say 2,000 to 5,000 people, maybe. I think if it eventually goes free to play or it goes on the Steam sale, you probably pick up some more people because you're asking them to pay $40, and I'm not entirely sure they vibe with that. But
so
if they
Steam
can pick it up on sale, if they can pick it up for $5 or $10 on a Steam sale, that's people might actually give it a chance at that point. But then also,
it needed to be free to play, man.
It needed to be free to play for it to stand a chance. My personal opinion, it shouldn't have been $40. $40 is Sony thinking, this is what's going to fly, and they're going to quickly find out that's not how it works.
Them thinking it's Helldivers 2.
Yeah, them thinking Helldivers 2 blew up, but that's because it is unique. There isn't any games like that.
So I'm glad you said that, because this is what I was going to... there was a point Mooch said earlier about Sea of Thieves. I think the difference is Sea of Thieves has a really is a unique selling point in that there's not really any pirate multiplayer games, at least I know. Maybe there is.
Well, but there is one, Skull and Bones.
Okay.
But...
Well, not back then.
So, if you are into pirate stuff, which a lot of people are, Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the biggest movie IPs of all time. People love pirate shit, right? Black Flag did really well as well.
Yes.
So it's if you're into that and you like the social aspect of it, because doing pirate shit and sinking other people's ships and stuff, it's a really social kind of emergent gameplay to it. So I think that's why it stood the test of time. And whereas with Concord, and I could be completely wrong, right? Maybe I'm wrong and it will do amazing. I thought it was going to be dead on arrival, especially with all the other quality games in this window, like Outlaws and Black Myth Wukong and Astrobot soon. I thought it was Sony sending it out to die. But, why I say that is because I think it kind of mixes in the pot of all these other shooters and games that are kind of similar, and I don't know if it has enough to stand out and to rise above. But who knows? Maybe in the long term it will do well. But personally, I have a feeling that it will simmer out.
Well,
so we'll see.
I think it'll simmer, and then they'll eventually go, okay, we're making it free to play or something.
You got to be careful with that, though. You're gonna really listen. Even if they only sell, what do you guys think? 1 million copies, less than that? I don't know. That's still upsetting a large fan base to go free. within 2 months or something. That's not going to happen.
Well, but then again, it's not within 2 months, but it's a potential possibility because if the game isn't doing much, they could still be able to see the metrics, right? So it wouldn't surprise me.
They'll put it on sale before they put it free.
They'll put it on sale, but then you have to consider how well it's doing, right?
I think you'll see it go on sale first. Second action is to give it to PS Plus owners for free, and then you would go free to play if really it didn't spark a fire at that point. And that would be, and that then after that it would be, another year after that you'd either see the studio say, thank you everybody, but we are, after this next season we're not going to be putting out any more content, blah blah blah. I think that's
what I thought was interesting is when they put that update out there and they said that that crossplay is turned on. They specifically said, hey, PC players, this is for you, which made it look like that they're probably thinking like, hey, the PlayStation is probably going to be bigger on PlayStation in that, make sure that the PC gamers get a pool of people to play. Where they say, crossplay default settings. It says, we hear you, PC players. This one's for you. Crossplay will be default on for all players across both PS5 and PC platforms. Every player will be prompted during their first time setting screen to make their selection before loading into Concord. So it's pretty weird, strange that they said this one's for you, PC players, because they would know that because that means it sounds like that the PS5, the console players were turning off crossplay or turning that off, and the PC players were waiting in longer queues to join games. Because the PC queue was limited. It's interesting though the way they put it.
To Demise in the chat, Overwatch for 40, but think of the time when Overwatch came out. Valorant didn't exist. Marvel Rivals didn't exist. A lot of these shooters didn't exist. And it won Game of the Year that year. Overwatch released at the perfect time. It had the characters the people liked. It was from Blizzard. It was the right time, right place, right time.
Singer, I'm glad you said that because that was my one counter to what Nib was saying. Nib was saying it's in an odd window. If you look at the games that we're talking about right now, like Astrobot, single player, people will play it. They'll be done with it. Wukong is going to be done. In 2 weeks, people really won't be talking about it still. So this is a multiplayer game, right? This is a live service game. This is a game that has seasons to it. It's a buy it once, you own it all kind of thing. It's the one thing that I think would be of course halt any type of progress if it gets any type of forward momentum would be when Call of Duty comes out. When Call of Duty comes out, that's going to be a big pump the brakes. A lot of people in the chat are saying shout out to I don't know if it's A-Itch. He says Mooch, let people know we got to stop saying Marvel Rivals compared to it. Anything with Marvel in front of it is going to sell like hotcakes. We mentioned that earlier. Marvel just sells with the name Marvel. If Disney picked up this podcast and it was called Marvel's, if this was Marvel's Crossfire, we would have 1 million people here. It's just the way it is.
I will say Concord does have an uphill battle because you may garner these people.
Absolutely.
You may garner these people, but then Call of Duty comes out, and then in December Marvel Rivals comes out. And then it's like next year, I'm sure there's going to be more shooters. So Concord releases now. I think they fucked up when they released Concord. I think they should have released it next year.
Well, I don't know about that.
They should have released it earlier this year.
Not next year. Next year's stacked.
Not next year.
No. Go ahead, Nib.
Yeah. I was going to say to your point, though, I agree in terms of, I don't know if they'll be in 2 weeks. I feel like most people outside of the enthusiast community actually spends quite a long time on games. But I think the problem is you want the initial volume of players because inevitably most players will drop off pretty quickly. Not everyone will, but obviously the bigger the initial hype and pot, the more you can kind of retain. Whereas if you're starting from a low pot, the retention is going to be even lower. So I think in that sense, that's why Helldivers 2 and Apex Legends and stuff, they did really well because they managed to garner so much initial hype that even if the player numbers did drop off, that initial was enough, right, to kind of sustain it. And I think with Concord, the problem is going to be it just maybe won't have enough people to even do the exposure for it in the marketing for it, and the streams and the Twitch streams and all the rest of it.
Yeah, and you know what I want to say? I think the beta was great, but I think the beta kind of hurt it. Like, if you look at it, that was a full beta, open beta, everything in the game there. Everybody got a taste of it over the weekend. They got to see if they're streaming it, or audience, and you see how many people. Like the count wasn't there. Like, I don't think it's gonna blow up for the purchase unless they got a lot of pre-orders from that beta. But I do think that the beta kind of gave everybody their kind of fill a taste of it that.
Yeah, Jez, you know, you've listened to me for a long time. I've said a lot of times that I think.
Yeah, it was me. Like I felt like I played the whole game already. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get it. There's no urgency for me to jump in now. That's what I was saying. If they held out some characters or had a whole another 4 characters that weren't available in the beta, maybe I would have been more eager to jump in.
Yeah, because I was going to say if the battle pass or whatever, like unlock cycle, if they had really cool shit, and it's like, do you know what? You're unlocking some of it now, but if you buy the game, you can continue where you left off, so you don't have to restart. Then I might have been like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, actually, I'll do that, because that new gear and this custom stuff looks cool as shit, and I want it. Whereas like everything was just a shit like reskin, a different color of the
different color,
stuff.
and a tag for your gun, and
Whereas I remember when I played Apex Legends first, I was like, oh damn, they got like entire custom skins. I could turn a robot into like a chrome cyborg.
That too. Overwatch was crazy with all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And
I feel like
you need that kind of.
And the variants were just a different color. Like you wouldn't know it was a variant unless it was you saw the V under them. Like he's supposed to be a variant.
Apex Legends, 2 things. Apex Legends, it had the benefit of being from the Titanfall devs, and I and many people absolutely adore Titanfall multiplayer.
And it was a stealth drop.
And they took that multiplayer out of Titanfall. They took away the mechs and put it in Apex Legends, roaring success. And it's because the fundamental gameplay of Titanfall is absolutely gorgeous. But also stats for Concord. So in top sellers, it's ranked 256. And, you know, in wish lists, it's ranked 700th. And it's got 5,000 followers. So it's, I'm sorry. And it does have 83 positive reviews. But all of those people were gifted the game because you have to list it if the game was given to you. So they're not real reviews in that sense. They were people given the game. So I mean, it's not looking great.
It's not going to do anything on.
No, I don't. I don't.
That's why they PC plays. We hear you, kind of reassuring them. Like, if you buy the game, you can play with. We're going to leave it open so the PlayStation players don't turn it off. Like, you know,
which they still can turn it off.
They still can turn it off. Yeah.
So
until an update like Gears 5 where they turn it off saying it's not an option anymore.
Now you can't.
You know,
no, you can't.
You got Destinger. You know, with Apex as well. I remember when I played it. I remember in the first day, like I got one legendary, like because it was like randomized some of the stuff.
Yep.
So I got some legendary shit, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And 2, because I feel like with that game, even when you're not necessarily engaged in combat and you're just there's reward and there's like you feel like you're earning something just by exploring the map and getting your attachments and legendary bits and this and that, and you're building yourself up. It's fun just to even do that, like just to scope out, and the risk reward of, okay, let's go to this hot zone. There's going to be people, but if we get through it, we'll earn some really good shit that will prepare us for the rest of it. So it is little things like that, which I thought Apex, like it had that zeitgeist. I personally really loved it, and even though I enjoyed Concord, I never felt that. I never felt that zing. Like this is the game.
See, I never felt that either, because we were playing it in the Discord in the open beta, and I was playing it, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I'm not really feeling anything. As soon as I got into the Marvel Rivals beta, we all sat there, it's like, this is peak Overwatch. This is Overwatch 1, because Overwatch 2 is shit. Peak Overwatch 1 back in the day, where the gameplay is fast, fluid, it's fun, there's tons of abilities flying everywhere, everyone's trying to communicate, you have people running all over the place. That's the other thing. Furious and absolute fun.
A lot of people have a hard time with that too, that I will say. I saw a lot of that when the beta was out. A lot of people said, Mooch, I got a problem with the speed of the game. Now, Shout out to B. B had to leave, but like B had mentioned this. That's a strategic choice. They could definitely have made the game faster. They didn't. I coming from the world of Call of Duty, and I don't play Overwatch and things like that, so I don't really know. It did feel a lot slower of a game, and like when you're saying fast and fluid, Singer, that's a design choice. I don't think that they wanted it to be like that. They wanted it to be more strategic, a little bit slower, not just people zooming around the map as fast as possible, which I will say I didn't get a chance. I can't wait to play Marvel Rivals. I'm definitely going to be playing that the minute I get an opportunity when they have the open beta. But like I was watching that was at times looked like a chaotic mess. It was just a lot of shit going on. The environment's destructible. Things were falling down. There's laser beams going on. There's things flying all over the place. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. It looked like a really good time in a sense, but it also looked like it looked like chaos.
It's controlled chaos. Because if I'm a tank, you see all these abilities flying around, but you constantly your head has to be on the swivel. I'm like, okay, my healer's getting jumped on. I need to go peel for the healer. It's like, oh, DPS, go do something, go kill people. It's like, oh no, here comes the ultimate. Let me put up a shield. Oh no, my ultimate's ready. Let me go kill someone. Oh wait, I fucked up, and they're the objectives. And there's so much stuff going on, but it's controlled. It's within the player's control. So it looks hectic from the outside, but when you're actually playing it, it doesn't feel that hectic. It's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this. You need to logically go through the steps of, I need to protect the healers. Or if you're a DPS, you're like, okay, I need to start doing out damage. I need to not die. Oh, someone's tanks on the healer. There's a whole bunch of things going on. Yeah. Whereas Concord, it just felt like I'm playing Team Deathmatch with some abilities.
Right.
And that was the end of it. It's like, okay, this is a cool arena shooter, but I'm not getting a hero shooter vibe from it. It wants to be a hero shooter.
Here's my thing. So when I hear you guys give the critiques you're giving it, I'll be honest with you, I don't even think free-to-play solves your problem.
Yeah, I think for me, like one of the
free-to-play doesn't change.
I meant free-to-play. I meant free-to-play because I didn't think the content was necessarily sufficient. But like for me, if I was developing that game, okay, so I've got a crossbow, or I can fire rocket launchers, or I can do all this cool abilities, right? Okay, so make custom specific legendary unlocks where my rocket launcher looks the shape of a shark and fires fucking water fucking cannons, so even though it does the same damage, when I hit someone, I see like a massive fucking tidal wave or something, or my crossbow fires some other quirky thing, or like my skin is entirely changed. Instead of just a different color, I'm a completely different type of robot with like, I don't know, Knight Rider vision or like eyes and stuff. And, there's so many cool things. I mean, I've just put on my Twitter, apparently it was in development for 8 years. I'm not seeing that in the fucking content and how they have and the amount of unlocks and stuff. So it kind of reminds me a bit of Halo Infinite, actually, because I remember when I played Halo Infinite, it was a similar thing, although I preferred Halo Infinite, where like the gameplay mechanics themselves were actually sound, and it was really cool, competent controls and everything like that. But again, the unlocks and the reward and the way they did that stuff, it just, it fizzled out so quickly because it just didn't have enough to like.
I think it's what Jez said too. I've said this a number of times. You guys know it. A lot of times demos come out, I won't even play the demo. It's tough because then people on podcasts are like, "Well, did you try it? Did you try it?" So sometimes I will, but I think the demo hurt this game a bit more than it helped. I think they could have kept on hyping it, doing certain things, having events and rallies, getting more streamers excited for it, and then doing this big extravaganza launch. And because the game, again, and Gambit 2483 is listening, I'm saying it does have good bones. It's got good ability. Like, it has great gameplay. It's just that there's certain things that I think, like Nib's saying, it's missing that icing on the cake. It's missing that one topper. And what that is, don't ask me. I'm not a game developer, and I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I don't know. But I'm just trying to say to you, I think it needs one more thing. You heard Singer. Singer thinks it, and I think Jez said it too. They think it needs to have like an ultra or a super at the end of, like, as you level up, you get 3, 4, 5 kills, 6 kills. Not like a kill streak, but you level up as you keep getting hits, and that way you have a super at the end to, destroy a certain area, take out a lot of enemies at once. Some people think it's that. Some people think the maps need to be a little bit bigger. Some people think that the characters need to have a little bit more appeal. Take that as you will. It doesn't matter if it means sex appeal or it means, just
the thing
appeal.
is like I feel that there's
the character.
There's no kind of build, like there's nothing to build up to. Like you get everything. You got all, just like they gave us all the characters, they gave us all the map. I give them maps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you have everything to begin with. There's nothing to level up or accumulate or to build up for. And the thing is like it's just sort of everything you got. The main part of it is the strategy of using it. And now think about it. How much do people really do like at the old days? Like you're going to strategize it with your team. How many people just run and play everything like Call of Duty? I want to get my kill streak. Like there's not a lot of people coordinating stuff, and there's a lot to learn.
Yeah,
that's where I think they wanted it to be, but it's I don't know. It's very
even a little thing.
Strategy point. Oh, go on.
No, go on. I'll go.
I will say to the strategy
don't know
point.
like what I had to say about it. Hey, that's my feelings on it, dude. That's what I've been playing.
I personally think like just strategy is like it's not like something I can see where they want to go with the strategy, but if you want to do something, you need to be something more akin to Valorant, right? Because there's a lot of strategy. It's like, do I buy guns? Do I buy shields? Do I just do a pistol round and save up money? And then you're talking to your teammates.
You're building towards something though. Like there's a you're progressing.
There,
So and it's all your stuff. So I'm gonna dominate. You know that's what I mean. There's nothing like that.
It's like when do you want to use your ultimate? It's like right, I have my key ultimate. Okay, we're now in a 2v1 situation. Pop your ultimate now, and there's this whole strategic aspect to it. Whereas that's how you do it properly. But when you go into something like this, it's as I say, it's like an amalgamation of multiple different games, but it doesn't do any of them good. It just
jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
My feeling is that it was very like I liked the strategy in it. It's just that it was very subtle that I don't know if I don't have the proper like team and that fun night everybody's watching and we're playing and streaming it.
Right.
You know, that was but I don't know how often that's gonna happen. And am I gonna want to play it?
You know, you were saying working towards another thing as well as, you know, obviously like I was in a squad that
right.
No battle pass, yeah. But I was in two squads that did like really well. We were like proper dominating. But I think another thing that I felt like it didn't really reward me with. It sounds so like such a vain thing, but you know, in Apex and even in Call of Duty, I think they have this where like they have the badge. It's the first thing everyone sees when you load into a game, and you can choose what to show on your badge, and basically you can unlock different things. But I remember like I was so proud of my 25 kills, like. Barely anyone had that, and there's another one. It's like 4,800 damage, and there's other ones that show your wins and all this other stuff. So like, it's rewarding when people see your character card and they're like, "Oh damn," you know, and then you get you know, it feels good because it's like people are commenting.
Well, there's two ends of it. It feels good for you, and also for me seeing you have that banner. It makes me want to kick your ass so I can actually get the banner. You know? It's awesome. It is cool. You're right.
What's funny is that they brought that system into League of Legends, right? So like on my player card, it's like. They have a percentage of who has achieved it on the server, and I put all my achievements 0.1%. So 0.1% of players have achieved these certain things. I put that on my card, and then when someone looks at it, they know. Yeah, I don't want to fuck with this guy. It's like in Apex. In Apex, when you pick up a random, you instantly look at their player card, right? And if you see they have master and everything, you're like, oh shit, we're getting a win. This guy's a tryhard. He's a proper sweaty. Let's go.
I used to get that. People would be like, oh shit, look at this dude, you can carry us. But then the flip side of it is when I went away from the game and I came back after a long time, and I guess the matchmaking still thought I was decent at it, I was an abomination. I was like trash, and the people look at the cards and they expect me to do well, and it's like I'm fucking shooting a water pistol, like I can't even hit anything. God, no.
That is the problem with the card, is because people that sets expectations for yourself.
Because
when I see someone with all these great achievements, I expect you to carry me because I am not as good as you. I'll freely admit it. So I need you to pull your weight and carry this game for me. Thank you very much in advance.
I'll tell you, it's funny you guys say it, though. It's interesting because, and I see Danelle Brown, shout out to Danelle, by the way. He says, it's funny, now gamers like free to play. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't even mind paying a lower price, like a $20, $30, $40 entry, and then they still did have a battle pass, like or even something like you said, maybe not a battle pass. You always have there's a pay battle pass where you can get more collectibles and more, like you say, more banners, things like that, more gear. Or they even have like the free battle pass where like you play through like Call of Duty. You don't have to buy the battle pass. You'll get certain things. It's not a lot, but you'll get charms and things like that for your gun or blah blah blah. You'll get some COD points. My point is you'll get certain things that you can buy other things with, even if you don't want to spend the $10 a month. Which, by the way, I've been doing I play a lot of Call of Duty. I play a lot of Warzone, so it's not. Don't go by me. But like, if I play through the battle pass every single time, and then I just get the COD points, and then I just buy with the battle pass the next season with the COD points they give me. So I've really only bought like, I think because one season I passed on, so I didn't play through it, and I had to pay again. I paid like $20 for like all the battle passes because I make the in-game currency you pay for the next season's battle pass. I wish they did something like that in conjunction with it, so you still get all the players and you still get all the guns like they promised in the maps. But I wouldn't mind if they had a battle pass in there to be able to get really cool cosmetics. And like you said, the thing that's a little bit dry about it is everything is given to you. So there's nothing to really earn except,
The thing is with the cool cosmetics, I'd like to bring up my League of Legends account, right? I have probably spent the best part of £5,000 on
£5,000?
5,000 over 8 years. Over 8 years, yeah, on the skin, right?
Okay.
Now, hear me out. Now, you see, the thing is, they have some very attractive characters, and the people who design their skins knows exactly what the fuck they're doing.
I know you're signed up to OnlyFans. I know you signed up to it. $5,000 to see a bit of that.
No, Nib. The thing is,
oh man, I gotta go.
No. The thing is, I want my characters to look good while I'm bodying you. So, like, I want my characters to look.
You're talking about League of Legends, where you're like a mile away.
No, don't do that. No, the skins look really good in game. And
from the top down,
all the custom animations. No, from the actual gameplay, it's not that high. Don't try and
Don't try from that high up, though. I gotta say, you gotta zoom in down there.
No, but
look at that pixel! It looks so attractive.
No,
look at that X. It's the size of a peanut.
Thing is, if I'm going to go,
that's tongue. You have to zoom in on that tongue.
No.
League of Legends, 400%.
No, the thing is though, I want to look good whilst I'm bodying you. I don't want to body you with a basic skin. That's no flex. How can I flex on you with some basic skin? I need to look good whilst I'm destroying you. So that's my theory behind it.
I agree. I agree on that, but £5,000 to see one pixel of skin, I'm not sure about that.
No.
Isn't there some nude that you could just get for free?
No. But the thing is, to Nib's OnlyFans statement, everything's free and available on the internet. You don't need to be 17.
Watch it.
Okay,
give some torrent sites.
But no. But then also, like, it's not just female characters I buy it for. They have creatures in the game I buy skins for, like Warwick, who's a wolf. Beast. And I also buy for dudes. Like, one of my favorite characters, Jin. He's a psychotic, crazy person.
That's the guy you bought the Y-fronts for, isn't it? I remember you saying. You spent like
no.
Is it gold-coloured Y-fronts?
No, but you also have to remember there's 180 characters in the game now. So obviously all of them have a whole set of skins. So like there's
you get a Y-front. No.
Well,
you get rabbity ears.
No, exactly. How am I going to put white fronts on a fucking mummy?
Let me I'll bring. Go ahead and finish your point, Singer. Then I want to bring it into a couple of super chats here.
No. Go ahead, because they will be at this all day.
That's
all I'll say is this: I think in 2024,
financials here.
In 2024, if you release a multiplayer game, I think we should be well beyond different colored skins of stuff. Like, it should not just be this gun is blue now, and now it's pink, and now it's green. Like, given the quality bar of multiplayer games and what is out there and what is fighting for our money,
that's right.
we have to be beyond that. We have to be beyond that. So I'm really surprised, given its development time and all the rest of it, it's as bare bones in the content as it is, because otherwise, foundationally, there is a lot of competent mechanics, level design, etc. But the kind of package it's put into is just not enough in this day and age with the amount of competition there is.
That's a good point with the competition out there. You got to kind of step it up, especially when you're a new team trying to make your name on the scene. I completely agree. Shout out to Magnum Gaming. This is a while back. He says, does anybody have a thought on how Black Myth Wukong will run when it gets the VR injector? Anybody got a thought on that?
Wait, as in they're doing a
VR mod. I think he's on about, the people who make mods for games.
That's what I thought he meant too.
The guy who made the Cyberpunk mod in VR, for example. I don't know.
Not very well.
Yeah,
not very well at all. Yeah, can you imagine Unreal 5 is already quite inefficient, and then you're rendering two scenes at the same time. I do not imagine it will do very well. But maybe those people who have spent £20 million on their gold encrusted 4090s can give it a go.
Shout out to a couple of people here. Shout out to Willie Gamer. Willie, I don't know if you're still with us. I know it's late over there. It's late for Nib as well. It's also late for the great Death Singer as well. But shout out to Willie. He says, Concord is incredible. Got me hooked. And Wukong. He's loving it. Shout out to Willie. Woo! Danelle Brown is not happy, folks. Danelle says,
he's not.
He is not. He says Concord. He says Concord copies Overwatch bad. Marvel copies Overwatch great. Shout out to the great Danelle Brown.
The thing is though, it's copying it. Marvel Rivals actually does it good. Concord does not do it good. If you're going to copy something, at least make it good. If you want to be a Valorant, Valorant copied essentially CSGO, right? But it's a good game in its own right. It does everything it's supposed to do. So, of course, it's a massive success.
Oh, that Marvel looked a little rough at that Jeff Keighley show.
What, Marvel Rivals?
The Marvel, what they showed there, that didn't look, I wanted to see more of the destruction. It looked a little, it looked a little mobile-ish, which I think that's
to be fair, they just wanted to show off the characters, like Captain America and Winter Soldier, so obviously, it's...
I want to see more of the destruction, because that's different, because they didn't show so much.
The thing with the destruction is, it's not everything in the map. But when you go to Odin's throne room map, when you go there, there's this entire circular part, so there's 2 levels to the map. Well, you could destroy the top level and make everything on a level, so it's got some interesting dynamics.
Yes, I like that. I like the destruction stuff. That's interesting. That's all I want to see more of.
Yeah, the destruction stuff does have my interest peaked. I watched a couple of videos on it. When is the open beta? Did they announce the open beta at Gamescom?
No, they didn't open.
They said something's happened Friday. Which I think, didn't you say?
I think people said it's October, the open beta's coming in.
Yeah, there was some sort of news on Friday or something. I don't know if it was Friday. They said something. I thought
I'm excited to try it. I'm glad that Singer got a chance to play it. I want to play. I definitely want to play it.
Definitely try it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I want to play it, especially all the characters unlocked. I want to try them all.
Hopefully they nerf Venom, because Venom is a bit.
Oh, that's what I'm going to be.
Venom's a bit on the OP side right now. Well, from beta. So and also Iron Man was a bit. That's a bit.
Yeah, rough. Iron Man. I saw some people using Iron Man dominating.
Oh, Iron Man is just. But also Scarlet Witch. Shout out to her, because she does an insta wipe ability. But it has the counterplay where she has to hover in the air and charge up her ultimate. So if you kill her before she gets it off, you save the day. But if she gets it off, you're just fucked. It's an insta-kill. Doesn't matter what health you are. So, so there is counterplay to it, but when the open beta comes out, I am definitely down to play with all of you.
Absolutely, Singer.
There's Indiana Jones footage running, man. Why does it look like a VR game, Mooch?
I don't know, buddy.
Why is his hand out there just like it's so...
It does. It looks like it's like glossy and everything. Yeah, it's just...
It's so weird.
I hate, please don't kill me, Xbox fans, but... I like the look of Indiana Jones, and Avowed I'm not so sure about, but I know Singer loves Avowed or whatever.
Yes, he does.
But nothing I've seen from these games gives me a Game of the Year contender kind of vibe. Like, I genuinely don't.
No, I don't.
I don't think so, dude.
That was a point, Nib. Somebody was saying, like, the fact that they're putting it in December, it is not going to go for any awards, like, at all, because it doesn't make the flipping out about Forza. Now, they don't even want it in the conversation.
I'm going to be honest with you. Next year, GTA 6 is winning Game of the Year.
Well, yeah.
So,
I
mean, putting it in December.
But next
usually
year,
the game in December doesn't even get acknowledged next year.
Right, exactly. But I'll tell you, next year, we keep saying this, but I had the list here for you guys. GTA 6, Mafia, Borderlands 4,
Mafia, baby.
Judas, right?
Mafia, yeah.
Right? These are the games that are, like, I am
Judas,
you're
right. Ken Levine's game.
Yeah, Ken Levine.
Yeah. BioShock.
That's my dude right there. I love BioShock. That's in my top 3. Borderlands 4, honestly, like I think they took a step back with Borderlands. I know, a movie aside,
it's crazy.
But Borderlands 3 took a step back, I thought. But 1 and 2 I played the hell out of. I hope 4 they just take and dominate. Like, honestly, that I might even
Wolverine as well.
That's right, Wolverine as well. Like, I gotta be honest, 25 stacked. 2025 is stacked.
The thing is, also you forgot other games, because there's also Doom coming out in 2025.
Yeah, that's right. Doom is coming out.
So there's tons of games, but everyone knows GTA 6 wins next year. So
yeah,
my God,
next year. That's a tough one to. Yeah,
next year is going to be insane.
Unfortunately, I feel bad for everything released next year, because I'm sure they're going to be good games. But
GTA
year to release.
GTA didn't win last time, nor did Red Dead Redemption 2.
No,
that, right?
but
God of War beat Red Dead, right?
Yes.
Yeah, God of War beat Red Dead.
But the thing is,
the thing is, the hype behind GTA 6, like, because it's been so long and so many people are anticipating, I expect those review scores to be off the charts. The sales,
it's going to be a de facto open world.
Yes, like GTA 6, I guarantee you. I'm almost willing to guarantee that will win Game of the Year, just because of how long it's been. GTA 5 came out on the 360, right? Yeah. There's so much hype behind this game.
Yeah. You know what isn't going to get Game of the Year, even if GTA 6 didn't come out?
Avowed.
I'm pretty sure they revamped and delayed it just because each time people are like, this is a bit.
Listen, you see, I don't mind that because Obsidian already won a Game of the Year award with Knights of the Old Republic 2. So
that was like
I'm happy. That was back on the original Xbox.
The cat and mouse.
Game of the Years.
The cat and mouse between Nib and Death Singer is absolutely priceless. I love you guys together. I really do. As Nib
went back to the Stone Ages.
Nib was being he was being the straight man in the joke.
He had to go into the archives.
He literally was trying. He's setting up the joke, and as he's saying it, I'm already laughing because I know what he's getting at before he even said it. He's like, it's not going to to be Game of the Year, regardless of none of those other games are there.
Don't say it.
The thing is, I hope everyone gives Avowed a chance, because Obsidian deserves your time and attention. So go play the game, and you might find yourself having a good time. Because when it comes, if you're out here claiming you like good stories in video games, and you don't, and you hate boring fetch quests, play Avowed, please, because
come on, dude, it's gonna have me filled with them. I say this for someone who enjoys Obsidian games.
No.
I think it might be.
A lot of this isn't Horizon, which had those useless fetch quests. No. This is actually a proper
Singer, can you do something for me? I would love it if you could live stream,
please,
your face before you open Metacritic for the first time for Avowed. Can you do that for me, please?
Please.
Man. Is he saying it's going to be a shade of yellow?
No.
I don't know yellow, but
no,
I don't know.
It's not gonna be, light green.
It's not gonna
be,
maybe.
Hang on. No, the thing is, you say a shade of yellow. They ain't seen a shade of yellow in. Let me see. Because do something else. Let's quickly look at the Metacritic.
Well, Grounded was good because it got saved. It was in a beta, so they got kind of like saved 3 years because if they would have released it, but we'll see about Avowed.
Well, so Glintzer says, shout out to Glintzer. He says, shout out to Eric Cutts for the win. He's getting her Wukong on right now. Raid the stream after you give this one a thumbs up, of course. Absolutely. Well, I'll promote it. Go over and check out Erica after this. She's on YouTube streaming. The great Danelle Brown says Avowed got pushed back because of the PS5 port. Is not ready.
Frosted Glass.
Frosted Glass.
Fraud project. I was watching the footage of them walking around the Indiana Jones studio. I was trying to see where the Frosted Glass was.
Yeah, you guys are brutal.
I was trying to see. I think they walked by it.
What do you got, Singer?
Though, like, oh, what?
No, what do you got? You were looking up some information.
Yeah, I was. Okay, so Outer Worlds, 85.
Okay.
Pillars of Eternity.
The thing is,
Pillars of Eternity 1 and 89. Pillars of Eternity 2.
No, let's go after when Microsoft bought them. What was Grounded? Grounded got 80.
Oh, okay. Let me have a look.
Yeah, because remember now they're owned by Microsoft. And
okay.
Now it's different.
I would give them that track record prior to Phil Spencer and Trashfinger.
Okay, Grounded got 83.
Okay.
So
that was.
I mean, it's a green. That's a green score. Okay,
I really like Obsidian. I think they're great. But the only thing is, when I saw Outer Worlds, I would say I could see like, okay, this is has that pedigree. It has that look. It has that humor. It has that world design. It has those mechanics. Same for all their games, right? They've always had that kind of X factor when they've been revealed and shown. I just haven't had that from Avowed. Maybe you're right. Maybe they'll turn things around and what we've seen is not indicative of what we'll get. But I don't think it's exuded the same sort of quality from everything from the mechanics to the story to the characters and all that stuff.
This is like a Pillars of Eternity. Because it feels, it's given the same vibe as, because it's in the same world. And I understand a lot of the mechanics. Also, a Pentiment got an 86 on Metacritic. So that's a really good score.
Very good. Yeah.
I mean, Obsidian, and that was like 14 people, but that was because Josh Sawyer was writing. Fantastic game, by the way. Play Pentiment. But Avowed is set in the world, and as she explained after the showcase, she told me everything.
Oh no, you said Pentiment. I just yawned. Oh shit!
Don't do that. But yeah,
it just came out. It was amazing.
The thing is,
I didn't get over the art direction with Pentiment. I really wanted to play it, but
it seriously just made me yawn. I don't know what it was. I was getting flashbacks to Hellblade 2.
The thing is, I trust
6 yawns on stream. It was insane.
The thing is, the same way people trust Naughty Dog and Rockstar, I trust Obsidian to put out a good game.
Don't trust Microsoft.
I don't trust Microsoft, but I trust Obsidian.
Obsidian has to wave off when Matt Booty shows up with his trash finger and he wants to touch it. They say, "Turn him away, send them back. They don't touch you with your dirtiest hands."
Away with you.
Yeah, Death Singer, you've given me.
Matt Booty,
you've given me more.
Is this the new build? Matt Booty, don't touch it! Don't touch it! Don't let him touch it. Trash finger. Don't let him touch it.
No, but to be fair, he's made a good argument, and I would say, even though what I've seen, I would never have predicted anything like that. Maybe, like he's right, their pedigree will overcome the issues, and this is why they've delayed it to begin with, right? To make sure the PS5 version is ready and that the game is better. So great. Maybe it will.
Think about it. They are the people, the same people there right now, the same talent. Made the best Fallout game. made the best Fallout game ever made, which is New Vegas. It's the best Fallout game.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with
that. That's his enemy right there. He does not acknowledge that.
Well, you see, that's what I'm hoping
they made a better one than him.
That's what I'm hoping to get permission to make a New Vegas 2. It needs to happen. Please make it happen, Microsoft.
Well, they alluded to the end of the show, man. Maybe the show.
I could see that because they were saying that maybe they'd have Obsidian do something in the Fallout world because you've got Todd Howard Studios working on Elder Scrolls 6 now.
They should.
But the thing is, the problem
with the Fallout show.
The problem with Obsidian have with that is they have Fallout in space, which is the Outer Worlds, which is better than Fallout.
And so they're making Outer Worlds too.
Yeah, that's true. They
so Fallout in space, which will be better than Fallout anyway. So you may as well play the Outer Worlds 2 because you'll be playing the better game. Because Bethesda, who knows with those people? Shout out to Todd Howard, everyone's liar's favorite liar. I think that's why him and Phil Spencer get on so well because they're both.
It's a Uber driver. He drives them around. He drives Phil around.
Hang on, but here's the question: do you think they lie to each other in the car on the way around?
Yeah, probably.
They probably do.
I think
Billy Spencer break first.
I think Phil Spencer told him it's going to be like Game of the Generation Starfield.
And then Todd gassed up Phil and said it's going to be our best game ever.
And he said we'll release it. Don't worry, Phil. We'll release it in 2021. Yeah. I mean 2022. 2023
tomorrow.
I think they said they overheard them in the car playing on the radio "Sweet Little Lies." Like
they're jamming, bopping their heads like Night at the Roxbury.
Well, that being said, guys, we've now crossed the 3-hour mark 2 weeks in a row. This is what happens when I have my friends from over across the pond on. These guys love their games and really. If you guys follow Nib on Twitter, okay, you'll know his tweets. Like Jez, when me and you tweet, it's like there's like maybe 27 characters. Have you?
Oh
seen
my god,
Nibs?
no! Nib is like read for more, and it's like I'm like that man. Twitter lets you write a novel.
Nib is a novel.
He was at the super deluxe package.
I told you guys, it's not me. It's chat Nib GPT. It's this new program.
GPT.
Yeah, you know.
He just reads it. He looks at an article and he just goes, "This is bullshit," and then it just reads a article for him.
You know, so many people tell me this. So many people think I actually am AI, and I always joke along. I'm like, yeah, it's Nib GPT. Download the plugin, like, you know, help the guy out. And now they actually believe that. But I'll tell you what, ChatGPT is shit at this stuff, man. If you ask it a question about these things and the nuanced business discussions, it will always give a really vague summary answer that is taken from Google and stuff.
Yeah.
It's never gives you specifics or like actual sources and stuff like that. So, you know, we're not there yet. That's all I'll say.
Nib, you're like I think I bookmarked most of my bookmarks are your tweets because I'll say I'll read them later.
Yeah,
I read this later.
The thing is,
they're the read them later tweets.
ChatGPT is so bad. I play Yu-Gi-Oh, and I asked ChatGPT to make me a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It made me a deck from 2008 and 2024. I'm like, get out of here. What are you doing? Where's your information coming from?
See, me and my wife, we were talking about this, and because she even though she's business management, she works for a firm that deals with this sort of stuff. Yeah, we were talking, and we think like because obviously using AI is expensive in terms of the energy consumption, the amount of searches it's doing, because the thing she's working on now, which is AI, they're actually doing the cost. They're trying to see how they can do it, keeping the cost down for each of the AI search and algorithm choices and things like that. And she thinks maybe ChatGPT and similar services are doing something similar, where rather than trawling all of Google and doing really finite back-end searching to save on cost, they're doing like the top hits, like here's the top 20 searches or whatever. And because of that, they have a very commercialized front-facing kind of answer. So it's not really as in-depth, nitty-gritty as you would like. Maybe that will increase in the future, but yeah, it's just one of those things, unfortunately, for now.
That's a great explanation. Nib is like very thorough. He's extremely thorough. I love it. That's what I love about Nib being on the show, dude. Like he does his homework. He knows he plays his games too, by the way, folks. In case you don't know, go over and follow Nib. Okay, will you please? Is it at Nib95_Nib?
Yeah, that's correct. At Nib95_.
I work my damnedest to try and get everybody's their Twitter handle or X handle now like memorized, but it is difficult. It's just not the Jez7780 very easy. Of course, Death Singer. Are those I's? Are those lowercase L's?
Yes,
all right.
They are capitalized.
Okay,
no, they capitalized.
Capital I's.
And also, shout out to Booty Cheeks, by the way.
Shout out to Booty Cheeks. Absolutely. I'll go
reverse. Yo, man, I tell you start doing reviews of Booty Cheeks.
Oh, yeah. I should give games a score and give 10 Booty Cheeks.
That's it. 10 Booty Cheeks.
Oh, God. Jez, do me a favor, buddy. I want to say thanks to everybody that's here. I'll do some shout-outs also for the people that had to leave early. I'll go ahead and plug their channels as well. But, Jez, love that you popped in, Jez. I was actually going to write you earlier today. I really was. And I'm like, dude, it's not fair for me to do this. I know he's always taking care of the family, and he's doing dinner right about now. So I'm like, I'm going to give Jez this week off. I'm not going to bug him. But then you were like, hey, can I jump in? I said, yeah, absolutely, Jez. So,
yeah, that was awesome. No, thanks. Yeah, I was just, listening to it. I wanted to jump in. There's so much stuff going on this week. And Wednesday was a little bit was an earlier day, so I was like, okay, this would be cool. And I kind of wanted to do a show today, but I was like, you know what? I did a 4-hour thing covering that thing, and went after that announcement, it just went on for like another. I got to cut that thing out and put on a different. Like it was just another hour and a half, 2 hours from. So I was like, I was gonna take a break. So I'll probably do a show tomorrow. So everybody want to tune in? We'll probably do a show tomorrow. Talk about that Phil Ness interview. And then and more stuff coming your way. And then normally it's the Gaming Grindhouse on Monday nights at 8:00. This show was crazy. I had Tim Dog on. First time ever entering the Grindhouse. He had to grind his gears, and this was before yesterday's announcement.
Wow.
That's really interesting. I would like to hear his perspective because I know he's kind of gone through a bit of a redemption arc because I know when
he had the
the whole bloody Green Tribe was coming after him with pitchforks and like everything, right? Because once he turned to coattails, they were like, but now I'm even today I was reading tweets from like established Xbox fans and stuff who were like, "Oh, you were right, dude. Like, you actually called it."
Yeah.
It's similar to like, I've done it too, like when I just kind of was just fed up with them. And you say how you feel, and that's why I always do on my channel. Like I just say how I feel. This is what I am, and this is what I feel like as a consumer. Not trying to get like flown out anywhere or trying to get. This is how I feel, and that's how I just built my channel. Just saying this is how I am. And it was not at the time. It was like all this hope still like Xbox is going to do it, and I was like, nah, man, it's not going to do it. And you see the same people now. Now you see different people saying those things, and it's like. They should be just saying, hey, that's how you feel like, as a fan, and these longtime fans, that's where it hurts the most because it's basically you have had this brand that was built from nothing because it was PlayStation, Nintendo, Sega, and Xbox fought their ass off to get to where they were, and they did some good things, really great things, and then to watch it all just kind of like just be this afterthought and all this other stuff, like this whole venture of growing their audience, they have abandoned the people that got them to where they are, and that's something you don't do.
Yeah,
you don't want to do. Yeah,
and now those people speaking up, and it's especially yesterday. That was the worst way to have that happen. Who the hell thinks that's good PR at all?
Well, that was bad. That was bad. Phil's interview wasn't much better, to be honest.
No, it was horrible.
It wasn't. It was horrible. Yeah.
It's horrible. Like, and people, and then on top of that, Mooch, like, and I'll probably go on a rant tomorrow about it, but like, then you say, oh, and pre-order the most expensive Xboxes we ever released today, Galaxy stripper glitters. Like, what the hell?
I feel like with that, they're like gifting PlayStation to screw us because it's like they're looking over the aisle, like, oh, you're gonna charge $600 for just
it's like, oh, pre-orders today after you just dropped that bombshell.
Okay, maybe we can reconsider this. But yeah, I will say that, and maybe I not to get hot takey and not to offend, but I'm just gonna be honest. I think like part of it, and I forgot his name now. Who's the one who coined the like hold the line term?
King David.
Yeah, whatever. I don't watch his content, but I saw this too. He got pissed, yeah. But the thing I'll say to that, like when I first heard people throwing around the term, and I think they even made coins and stuff, like with hold the line. Yeah, and you know what it translated to me is keep my standards low. That's how I translated that. Because what you're saying is you're going to continue to wait and deal with mediocrity, hoping for the day things get better. But for me as a consumer, like, I'm never going to roll like that. I'm not going to wait indefinitely.
And give them more money.
Yeah, from 20.
Give them more money. Like, if PlayStation starts messing up and the release cadence and the game quality and all the rest of it,
they won't get my money.
They ain't getting my money, man. I'm going elsewhere. I'll play. Yeah, there's no way you're gonna just give them time, guys. Just let them work through it. Like, this isn't freaking. It's not your wife going through labor. This is a product we buy to enjoy games and to get something out of it. We're a consumer. We're buying something that offers productivity in place for our money. So until when they stop doing that, the only thing I would say is that the people who say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite. You've got an Xbox Series X," and I've actually had all the Xboxes. I will say to that point, I actually did not anticipate, and maybe that makes me an idiot. Maybe I'm a fool for it, whatever, you can chastise me. But I really did not think it would be a repeat of this. I thought, look, they're flexing their money. Yeah. They bought 7 studios in 2019, right? Yeah. Surely some of these games around the corner. Then they bought bloody ZeniMax and Bethesda. Like, they've already got 29 studios or something more than PlayStation. And it's just like, how, with so many studios, do we still have the same issue that I had the previous generation?
First
and
party's
like,
it doesn't make no sense. No games, like missing launch of your own console with one Halo game that gets delayed a year. Like,
listen, I started saying it in 2018, 2019. Need new leadership. That same leadership is there, and everything that answers your question, Nib, is leadership. They had the talent. They bought the talent. So to answer your question, where are the games? Where are all these games with 29 studios? There's no foot on the gas. There's no finger on the pulse.
Well, there's 40 studios now. Well, actually, I think after the closures, there's 37. Oh
yeah, now. But you said 29 before. I'm just trying to say you're right. I mean, it's just there's no emphasis on quality. Look at the quality. Everything's fallen off. Gears 4, Gears 5, quality dropped off. Crazy. People left. Halo Infinite. Quality drop off. I know everyone goes, well, it got an 87. I don't care that it got an 87. The game was extremely repetitive. It launched with an empty open world. They were like, oh, don't worry, Mooch. I had a ton of people on the show.
It was called a sandbox.
Don't worry, Mooch. They're going to fill it later. They're going to fill it later. Yeah. They're going to fill it. Well, we've been waiting. It's not getting filled. Nothing happened. And there's nobody playing Halo multiplayer, and it's just those are tentpole franchises.
Yeah, and honestly, like, if you asked me back in 2019, I think the console launched in 2020, right? November
2020, yeah.
I would have never predicted it was going to be like this it is today. Like, I just didn't think with that many studios, with that much money behind it, the war chest and all of this you heard, and all in on Game Pass subsidy, all this other stuff.
It woke the beast.
And Phil Spencer's talking about we want a release every quarter or something like that. What did he say? Like something along those lines.
Yeah, release every quarter. Yeah,
this is it. This is the one.
I saw the writing on the wall, and this is why I never did get another Xbox, because I'm on PC, and I knew the writing on the wall was everything is going to go downhill, and I am having a much better experience, and I still get all the Xbox's games, and I get everyone else's games now, and I don't have to pay for Play Online, and I realized how stupid I was paying to play online, and it frees up so much time and space. And I already knew this. The only reason I had an Xbox,
hundreds of millions of people stupid, man.
The only reason why I got an Xbox Series S was because Destiny 2 at the time wasn't crossplay, PC and console. So to play with my friends, I needed a console, so I bought a Series S, and then literally like a month later after the console launched, Destiny 2 became crossplay, and I got that shit straight out the window. I'm like, yep.
I mean, Singer, Singer, the one thing that, and it took me a lot of growing pains to understand this too, but like you bash people who pay on console to play online. But then
it's a joke.
I know, but it's the biggest. It's one of the bigger gripes that the PC community has, and rightfully so. But also, and I buy things I'm worth. But you told us you paid £5,000 in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, over 8 years. But
I got news for you. If you paid for 8 years of online with Xbox, it ain't £5,000.
Yeah, but how many $70 games would I have to buy that I don't have to buy on PC? How much money do I save off games?
I tell you, that £5,000 buy you a lot of years online, a lot of games.
No, but you know what? The thing I say about him, the thing is though, even if you left Xbox to go to PC, it still failed you because the games were not coming from them, and when they weren't that quality.
They're not the quality,
and that's the problem. Like, even if you're on PC, it doesn't fix his Xbox problem. What it does, it helps you deal with it because there's so many more games to play that who gives a shit what Microsoft and Phil Spencer are doing?
Right.
Because they can, but
Right.
But the thing is, though, is that it still doesn't make them any better.
They're not any better.
You know, even their integration, their Xbox Game Bar, their friggin' Xbox app, like they have been saying they've been trying to fix that and optimize that for years.
Been like 6 years.
I hear you.
6 years.
We're working on it.
It's gonna be great.
It's like snail's pace.
Yeah, there's just no emphasis on it right now. And now we said this last week. Now that they have Call of Duty, they really
just gonna sit on that. Dude.
They really don't have to step on the gas. They're like, we're good. We're good.
Cruise control.
Yep.
They're in right
So,
now.
Mooch, you said a really interesting point, because for years I've been saying, actually way before, because I think Phil Spencer, not to get into it too deep, but people often try and put all the blame on Don Matrick, and they don't realize Phil Spencer has been head of Xbox Game Studios and Xbox Studios manager for literally overseeing the worst period of Xbox releases of all time.
Mm-hmm.
For well over a decade, right? So he's basically, since it turned bad, he's been the head of Xbox Studios. So and people try and blame Don Matrick, but he probably would have been pivotal to the decision to switch to Kinect focus. He probably would have overseen all these, like Fable being cancelled and Scalebound going to awry, putting so much money into Crackdown 3 with all the cloud, all this other nonsense. That was wasted money. But anyway, point is, like, now my fear is, right, because the suits have kind of taken over Xbox. Right? It's Microsoft Gaming now. It's all about business, as he keeps saying.
That's right.
And deliverables. So my fear is, now if he does finally get the axe or quit or whatever, whoever replaces him is probably going to be a suit. And it might actually be way worse for us. Like they might nickel and dime us to every inch of our dollar. And, I don't know. We'll see. But
I think they're on. My thing is, it sounds like I think it's near the tail end of this thing. Like this Call of Duty here. If this does, I think that they're seriously going to. I think that Satya is going to pull the plug. Like I feel like that's the way he's talking. Like he's talking like, hey, it's out of my control. My back's against the wall. Yeah. The last kind of thing that they can do. Remember, they have this on everything right now. The last place. People are like, oh, they're going to put Game Pass on the PlayStation. The thing is Microsoft's never going to wait for Sony to allow that to happen. Right. And that's why now they're just putting the games there full blown. Just put them over there, because this is the way that they're going to. This is their last. I think this is their Hail Mary right now, putting their games on PlayStation. And if these games don't make the money back that they're going to do, they're just going to pull the plug, start merging the things, start selling off IP. They're ready, you saw it with Hi-Fi Rush, selling off the studios, selling off IP, merging it all together, combining people. You got to remember, a lot of these studios were already working on games, and that's the content they need for their services. So who knows what their next project is? Like Ninja Theory, supposedly, they're working on what? I don't know. But like you look at Compulsion Games, you think they're going to start up something brand new after they release this game, or they're going to get dissolved into something else? Right. I can't see. We got to wait to see when these studios finish. Same thing goes with Machine Games. What's their next project after Indiana Jones? Is Phil going to let them green light something? Because they were green. The hell, Hi-Fi Rush 2 was going to be worked on, and they said no.
No. Yeah.
On that point, where is Everwild? What is Rare doing?
State of K3, dude. State of K3.
I need them to take their time with State of K3. I need that to come out superb.
They're taking their precious time with that.
Bro, you're going to be in a Zimmer frame by the time you're playing the game.
No. I'm not going to be but like I won't. It's probably coming out 2020. Probably 2026, I would imagine.
I would think 26.
That's perfect dark sprite coming out.
I hope so.
That's perfect dark. Yeah.
I need State of Decay 3 to be good, because I enjoyed State of Decay and State of Decay 2. Despite what people say, the game is absolutely fantastic now, and it is a brilliant time. Best zombie game I've played.
Do you play it solo, or do you play it with friends?
I play it solo because I love the whole micromanaging, having to go around and find resources. They made so many improvements and updates to the game now. It is a completely different game to what it was years ago.
Okay, that's fair.
Like this may as well be a brand new game at this point.
That's fair.
So
are you still tethered to your friends?
Absolutely not.
Well, you don't play co-op. Tethered. That was a big problem. Can't be in two different houses.
the thing is, on console you are, on PC you're not, because PC superior. So I was never tethered anyway because PC doesn't have that feature. So
it's a feature.
I don't know. I don't know what it's like on console.
That's a console exclusive feature to be tethered.
Yeah, that's a console exclusive feature.
You go in that house, I gotta wait for you to leave, and then we can go to the house together.
Wait outside, Jez. Wait outside with the zombies. I'll be right there. I'm looking to see if they got milk.
That tethering was like the worst thing. I remember that was like, oh, you kidding me?
That sucked.
But yeah,
a lot of unnecessary deaths in that game because you're just waiting for your partner's waiting inside. He's looking for crackers and like milk and stuff like that. You're like, come on, let's get out of here.
You get the car, they drive away.
Come on, we gotta go.
Go too far.
The thing is, I sincerely hope State of Decay 3 is superb because it absolutely does the series, but I don't think Xbox will go away. I just think they'll get rid of the hardware and just go full software.
That's what I mean. They'll get rid of the hardware and they'll just turn into just gaming. Like, I really think they're just gonna... Well, yeah, and the next device will be some sort of Windows thing, like a Surface rebranded to a game.
That's when I think we'll find out, Jez, what you're saying, what'll come to fruition is what they're going to reveal in hypothetically 2026 as that next technological, what they're saying is a leap, if it's a console or it's a Steam
because I think Satya, now they've taken over, they're like Windows is their Office is now everywhere because Office never used to be like that.
Yeah.
But ever since Satya's been in charge, they want everything everywhere with absolutely every product on Microsoft. So look at Xbox going, well, our main breadwinner is everywhere. The things that are making the most money for our company are everywhere. Xbox are going fucking everywhere.
Yep. So I was going to offer a bit of insight to this. I actually made a tweet about it, but it's like not much of the public sort of the gaming sphere was talking about it, but I thought it was really interesting. But one of the comments Satya made with his answer on gaming was that their like ultimate future goal, actually maybe it was what's his name, the CFO instead, Tim Stewart. It might have been Tim Stewart. I can't remember. I have to go back. But basically, they were saying how they want to monetize AI tools in gaming development, and they essentially don't want it to be like an exclusive thing. They want to get as broad a market as possible. So the AI that people use to create content and writing and script and all this other stuff for games, they want to be behind that. Which would make sense because then if you're already on every platform and your tools and everything has the expertise for every API, it makes sense, right? Like in the long run. So I don't know if that was just like off the cuff comment or something they're thinking long term, but it could also be another indicator as to why they're going the route they are besides just Xbox, like, you know, not having
like they bought PlayFab and they did all that stuff. Yeah. They want to make the tools that people build their games on.
Thing is, like, I see them as the next. I see them as they'll go the same way Sega went. That's the inevitable ability at this, and then all their games will be on Nintendo, PlayStation, PC, and everything, and they'll just go that way. But I think that's the way they want it because they are a software company. They're not a hardware company, right? They don't typically make hardware; they make software. So they're probably like, well, let's just be Microsoft and be a software company. There we go.
I don't know, man.
We will see.
Their software is not flying for shells either. Like that's the problem. Like it's not like they make some incredible software. Like Sega made some incredible IP and software that was valuable. Microsoft hasn't done that much with their IP to make it valuable. Like that's the thing. Like even something like what I said, Hellblade 2. Like that's a franchise that they bought. It was out there already. Did they do anything for that franchise to kind of make her the face of a brand or anything? No, they just kind of, she just went and came and went. Senua was gone. Like that's it. I felt like the first game gave her more of identity as a brand and something like that. Like I didn't think the second one under Microsoft did anything marketing wise or anything to kind of promote that. And that's the problem. They do not do well with their IP. They have not. They have not handled it very well under Phil at all.
I will say, like they do still have good games. Like I absolutely love Forza Horizon 5.
It's incredible.
Hi-Fi Rush was great. But the thing is, they do these weird. I don't know. I feel like Sony wouldn't do this, or PlayStation wouldn't approve such a game. They'd cancel it. But for example, Redfall, right? When I first played that, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I was like, is this the real release? Yeah, and then but worse than that, I remember what's it called, Crossfire X, right? It's really hilarious because I did some digging. So I went back onto just because I was curious, because I remember watching an interview where they said it's a first-party published game, and that XDev, their like support studios, were helping co-develop it. So then I remember like the Metacritic score came out, and it was like, in the 30s or something.
It was like a red.
Yeah,
it was like the last Xbox console exclusive.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? So then I remember at the time Metacritic had Xbox Game Publishing as the publisher, right? And I thought, oh, this is going to fuck up their Metacritic average. But then I went back and it changed to Smilegate Publishing, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Yeah. Then I went to Wiki, and that was edited as well. And I was like, hold on a minute, this is a bit funny. Are they trying to remove their like?
Yes, they did. They got Publisher of the Year that year, I think.
Yeah, so get this right. They delisted the interview in which they said they were publishing it and helping with development.
What?
Right? Yeah. And on top of that, I went on Wayback Machine, and even on Xbox Microsoft website, 4 months before release, it says that they were the publisher. And just
wow, so they removed it.
Yeah,
wow. 4 months. Yeah, it was like a 45. It would have brought down they got Publisher of the Year that year. I think that was the Halo year.
Yeah, it was like 4.5 months or something. I've got a tweet about it. Before the game launched, they switched it to Smilegate Publishing. So maybe they just said like, the playtesting was so bad. They were like, yo, bro, you can have it.
Yo, that's crazy.
That's yours.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Well, let me do this, guys.
By the way, Smilegate Crossfire Sierra Squad is pretty damn good in VR.
It is very good in VR.
Okay.
It is pretty damn good.
Here's the thing, guys. I'm getting up for work in about 6 hours.
Oh,
so I've got to cut the show here. I apologize.
Just get to bed.
Yeah, well, we got things to do tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
This game is
talking. Shout out to everybody that's here. Nib, do you want to promote the? Let people know where they can find you, buddy. I gave you a promotion, but you got to promote yourself, buddy.
Oh, it's just on Twitter. Like, if you want to see AI tweets, then follow me. It's at nib NIB 95 _. That's it.
Guys, go over and follow Nib. You guys are missing out. If you're not following him, you have no idea what you're missing, dude. The conversations he gets into, even when someone's being hostile to him, he still hits them with that douse of polite. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely amazing. The great Death Singer's with us too. Death Singer, I gotta say tonight, buddy, didn't have nearly the issues like last week. You were like Neo at the end of The Matrix 1. You were outstanding tonight. Took every blow hit by hit and took care of it like a professional.
Hey, man. Thing is, I didn't receive any blows. They were just imaginary blows.
Oh, wow.
See, this is like shadow boxing. It's
shadow. Yo, shout out to Death Singer.
But you can find me Death Singer everywhere, and you can find me actually playing video games, and you can find me playing the, as I like to quote, the top-down PC garbage that everyone seems to hate. You'll find me playing them because, it's, as people say, it's a dead year. It's not a dead year. It's just you have a limited taste in video games, and you might need to improve that and expand your horizons.
I like the way you put that.
Because there are great things out there, and you don't know if you'll enjoy it till you try it, unless it's a PlayStation game, in which case, fuck that. But yeah, there we go.
Well, great to have you here tonight, Singer, as always, and thank you for informing the crowd, as you always do. I love hearing your input, and we had a great pre-show as well, me and the great Singer, by the way. Great gaming grindhouse. You guys know him as Jez7780. Jez, again, thanks for being here, buddy. Let people know about the grindhouse and when you're going to be doing I think it sounds like you're going to be doing a special tomorrow.
Yeah, I might do one tomorrow, but yeah, the gaming grindhouse is on Monday nights at 8 o'clock, and you can follow me over on Twitter, on X, whatever the hell it is. It's Jez7780 over there. So yeah,
appreciate it, Jez.
And I dropped some new songs too.
Yes, you did. One for J-Dub, I saw.
One was inspired by J-Dub's tweet.
Yes. Go over and check it out, guys. Couple quick shout-outs. Shout out to Brap. Brap's going live right now. Go over and check him out. Tell Mooch sent you at Brap_podcast. Shout out to the great Gaming Forte. They're doing DPS. Him and Slow-Mo Backslap tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time. The great middle-aged game guy, Mag. You guys know him. It's at middle-aged game. And then instead of guy, it's GY. Go over and follow him over on Twitter. And, of course, the great Crap Gamer who's going to be joining us again next week. It's at _Crap Gamer, and it's Crap Gamer Reviews over on YouTube, as well as the great B Money at BMUNY101. Go over and follow B Money. We got to get B back on the show. B was working late, and then we didn't get over to the Concord news till later, so I apologize about that. Guys, next week, we're back on Thursday. We're back to Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Guys, again, welcome Mary Wilcox a happy birthday. Please, she's going to enjoy her birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
So shout out to
Mooch,
Mary.
I forgot something.
Oh, what do you got?
Check out on the Ash and Lucas channel,
I was going to say that.
Scumcast at 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays, kicking over there with Forte, Slow-Mo, and the wonderful Luca, talking all kinds of things outside of gaming. Because I almost forgot that, and Luca will probably kill me if I forgot it. So yeah, here we
Shout out to Luca.
Wait, did you say outside of gaming? So it's not.
Luca,
it's gaming.
It's gaming.
It's
but
gaming, okay. But we also go into other topics outside of gaming.
It's no holds barred. Whatever. Yeah. If the topic goes off onto a tangent, Luca's like, let's go. Let's do it. She's great. She's one of the best in the community. One of my good friends. Shout out to the great Ash and Luca. Guys, go over and check out Scumcast at 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. If you're following me and you don't know, I always retweet when Luca goes live. Shout out to the great Death Singer as well. Slow-Mo Backstop Gaming, Forte are on that show as well some surprise guests. Guys, we'll be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Please, on the way out, hit the like button. Shout out to the great Danelle Brown. Danelle, you sound a lot happier than you were about an hour and a half ago, but great to have Danelle here. Thank you guys for the super chats. Again, thank you to Mesh. I don't know how many he's donated. I want to say 60 at least. Could have been 80 memberships tonight. Just an outstanding individual.
Woohoo!
Everyone, you get one. Nip
you
gets
get one.
Death Singer gets one. Everybody gets one. Guys, hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you this weekend. Maybe we'll do a little Wukong stream. We'll see how that goes. If I get a little bit of time on Saturday, I think I'm going to do that nice and early. I like an early morning stream, and then we'll do a little Warzone as well. Over on twitch.tv, it's Mooch TV. Drop the O's for zeros, M00CHTV. We'll see you next Thursday. Peace out and good night.
Good night, everyone. Good show.